welcome to the English Chess Championships and the English Women's Chess Championships, sponsored by Chessable. We're going to have the games have just started just this moment, so we're going to start off on the Open tournament. And here, John, we have Jacob Boswell against Grandmaster Mark Hebden. Now, Grandmaster Mark Hebden just won 2 weeks ago the English Seniors event in the same place, held at Kenilworth. And so he's on great form. And let's have a look at this game.
He did, didn't he? He won the English Seniors Championship, wasn't it, 2 weeks ago?
Yes, I was there. In fact, I played him. Yes. I played him in the last round. Now we're mentioning it.
Yes. So this tournament is 7 rounds. That's correct, isn't it, Natasha?
Yes.
Yes.
So it's running from now until Sunday.
And it's standard play. I think they play. Or the time limit is all moves in 90 minutes plus an extra 30 seconds.
Yeah, so it's slightly faster than some time controls. It's quite a nice time control.
It is. It allows them to. I guess it allows them to get fairly comfortably 2 games in a day.
Yeah,
we're having a reasonable break in between.
Yeah, so they're playing. I think today they play 10 o'clock till 2 o'clock, and then they're on again at 4 o'clock.
Yeah. Okay, so should we have a look at some of the games? I mean, not much is happening in Mark's game against Jacob Boswell at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like quite a solid defense there from Mark.
It's a Slav defense, and Jacob Boswell's having a bit of a think about which line to play. I don't think Mark's played anything. I think that's knight f3 is what Mark would normally play there. Maybe he'd play the exchange as well.
Sorry, Mark's white. Apologies.
Yeah.
Okay. So okay, and let's see.
Marcus Harvey's played his English opening, and 1b6. That's quite an interesting defense actually. 1b6. This could be.
Well, now there's a Chessable course on that, isn't there?
Is it? Yeah. Is there a?
I believe so. I believe that.
Is that Lawrence Trent?
Indeed, I believe that Lawrence Trent has done a Chessable course on 1b6 against everything,
even against 1a4.
Well, I haven't.
No,
haven't had 1a4 against me ever. I don't think.
No, it's quite nice to have an opening where you can just basically play against everything, isn't it?
Yeah. So this is Marcus's black, isn't it? And so it'll be interesting.
Yes,
he's a very kind of strong young player on the up. So it'll be interesting to see if he does try it against everything, or whether this is just a one-off for this game.
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Actually, funny enough, actually, I think they both played the English as well when they're white, in Thompson and Marcus Harvey. Yeah. So white basically has an opportunity now to basically just occupy the center with e4, then d4. We'll see whether he does that or whether he just sort of plays knight f. White could just play knight f3 and g3 as well. He's gone e4.
He's gone e4, yeah.
Yeah. So actually, normally black plays e6 here, and then white could go d4 and bishop b4. But I think black can also go e5 here. That's actually a move.
Okay.
Yeah. It's actually an interesting move. We'll see what he does.
See what he does.
Yeah, let's move.
All right. So now, here we go. We've got Richard Pert against Theo Cowrie. Now, we've commentated on both these players lots before. So Richard Pert, experienced international master, and Theo Cowrie is one of our leading junior players. So it'll be very interesting to see how he does.
Shall we? Can we see this from the start?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so black's trying to play a modern Benoni. but Richard's kind of just declined, hasn't pushed his pawn to d5. So d5, we get like a symmetrical sort of semi-Tarish type position after pawn to d5 by black.
Yeah.
And Richard's just taken straight away. So I think probably what we're going to get, bishop b5, check, knight c6. Okay. We're going to get some sort of isolated queen's pawn position, but I think white will at some moment take on c5. And black will take back with the bishop. And we'll have that sort of
Yeah. So black will have this isolated d pawn, and white will maybe try and control that square in front of the d pawn, and black will try and generate some kind of attack on the king side.
So white's kind of got a slightly better pawn structure, but black's going to have pretty active pieces. Yeah, easy development.
Okay. Let's have a look. Oh, now this one's an interesting one. Patrick Duncan.
Oh, another b3 stroke b6.
Well, now you see Patrick Duncan always plays 1b3 and has for many years. So Patrick Duncan, some of our regular viewers might know Patrick Duncan from the Quarantine League games, where he plays as Mouse Slip.
Oh, okay.
And he's had lots of good results there. So let's see it from the start. And of course, Matthew Wadsworth is what's he? He's I am very. Thank you for the follow.
Yeah.
He's going, very strong. Has been having lots of really good results. He plays. He's been playing Guildford, I think, for NCL, and also played in many of the online British events and various tournaments. So e4 here. That's an interesting move, isn't it, John?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to me, actually looks like the most natural. I'm trying to think what else black could play there, actually. D6, I guess, is possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
I mean,
the crowd is cheering for Warwick University Chess Society President Magana Mohan. So we will check in on Magana at some point today. Okay, knight d4, c5. Takes.
Yes, I like this taking with the d pawn by Matthew. I think it's just important to actually open up that bishop more than anything.
Yeah, so
I mean, you could take the b pawn and get sort of like more center, but I think here it's actually quite nice for black to just develop as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like d4 as well.
Yeah. So
I mean, do you remember that there's a famous game in this line that Boris Spassky beat Larson with in about 19 moves with black?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because Larson always used to play b3.
He used to play b3, yeah. And basically, Patrick Duncan, obviously, I'm sure he probably knows about the game, but he hasn't fallen for the same mistake as Larson did. And what Larson, there's exactly the same sort of pawn structure, but Larson, he didn't play d4. He kind of played c4, knight c3, queen c2.
Yeah.
And black just built up a really strong attack very quickly by just sort of going bishop f5, queen e7, casting queenside, and pushing the h pawn up the board.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, Matthew has pushed his h pawn up the board.
Well, there you go. Yeah. So maybe, yeah. Okay, slightly different now, but certainly white will be slightly nervous about castling kingside. Natasha,
yeah.
Now, what do you think? Well, for example, what do you think would be tempting for black if white castles kingside here?
Well, I don't know. I mean, it's tempting to just keep pushing the h pawn, or you could think of knight g4, or even bishop takes h2 check straight away.
Yeah.
And then knight g4.
That looks very tempting, doesn't it?
Does look quite scary, doesn't it?
And then king g3, queen d6 check, perhaps.
Good grief. So if white does castle, we could get a piece sacrifice on move 9.
What do you think the odds are that he's going to castle?
I don't think he's going to.
I don't think he's going to. I think he's probably
going to develop his queen tonight.
Given that you say he's played b3 a lot.
Yeah.
I don't want to be tempting fate though, yeah. So maybe we should move on.
Let's move on, and then we'll see what Patrick does come up.
Yeah. H3 perhaps is my guess.
Okay, here's Peter Roberson against David Ireland. This looks like an interesting opening, getting the queen out early. So we've got e4, e5, knight f3, knight f6.
The copycat.
Yeah, and e5.
Okay.
And d4. e5.
takes. Yeah, going back a little bit. C takes d4 on move. Sorry, E takes d4 on move 3 isn't the move that I think kind of a lot of the top players play. Knight takes e4 there.
Okay.
Yeah. And
presumably David Ireland would
know that.
He
deliberately played down this line. Normally it's knight takes e4, bishop d3, and then d5 by black.
Yeah.
And then, but okay, so he's taken on d4 instead. Okay.
Queen f4.
Yeah.
5.
Okay, that's an interesting move. I was just thinking actually black might just go bishop e7. I was wondering where white's bishop should go, and obviously d3 is the most obvious square. It can't go to c4 or b5. Well, I mean it can go to b5, but that would allow an exchange. But now bishop f5 discourages bishop d3.
Yeah. So white's going to have to think of a different place to put that bishop.
It's possible that white will just delay the development of the bishop and perhaps go bishop e3 and castle queenside.
Yeah. Which will lead to quite an exciting game, because I imagine...
Well, unless black castles queenside.
Unless black castles queenside as well.
Yeah.
They could both castle queenside.
They could. I mean, I was talking about bishop b5 not being playable, but I suppose it actually is.
Bishop
b5.
Knight takes?
Yeah, knight takes.
Knight takes, threatening to
take on c7. I mean, that may be playable.
Interesting.
Yeah. Also, bishop e3. I don't know whether black can just grab the pawn on
c2. That would be brave.
It would be brave
against Peter Robertson.
I think it might be brave anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know the theory of this particular position. And bishop e3 looks natural. I'm wondering actually, can black play knight b? Oh no, can't play knight b4. Okay, that's good news for white. Otherwise, that'd be a bit embarrassing.
And knight before, could you just take it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So maybe bishop e3.
Yeah. Okay.
The only other thing maybe white could consider doing here is actually going knight h4 to chase the bishop.
Yeah. You kind of feel like you'd want to get your bishops out first somehow, but...
Yeah, well, the idea is like, and then the bishop can go to d3 once it's chased away.
Yeah. Might black, though, take on c2?
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. I think black, you're right. Yeah, that would certainly be justified against knight h4, wouldn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so probably bishop e3.
Yeah. If you can't get that bishop out where
he's having a bit of a think here now, yeah? Although black's also spent 5 minutes already, so...
Yeah, I think maybe they're both kind of still making it up as they go along, sort of thing.
Or rather, possibly, but they might just be sort of getting into the game, yeah.
Or getting into it, yeah.
I mean, e takes d4. I mean, obviously, there's possibility that Peter Robertson's prepared already, yeah. But e takes d4 isn't the main line. So I can imagine Peter maybe spending a bit more time, even if he's faced it previously, just sort of remember.
I'm not sure when the pairings came out as well, whether it was...
Oh, they came out last night.
Last night, so they have had a little bit of time to prep.
Yeah, they would have done, yeah. So, okay.
Cool. Okay, next one. Peter Hepworth against Jonah Willow. So let's see. So Jonah's black. Jonah, of course, is another of our very strong junior players who he played in the... online Olympiad. He was one of the junior boards in the online Olympiad last year.
So we've got sort of a Collie Zukertort attack or opening. Would you call it? What's the name of it, Natasha?
You'd have to call this an opening, wouldn't you? This isn't very attacking.
Yeah, but they sort of like sometimes they add on attack to make it sound more exciting, don't they? Yeah. Is it it's the Collie opening though, isn't it? It's not
Collie opening.
I think it is. There is the Collie Zukertort attack. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, actually, it's probably one of the more aggressive ways to play the Collie, putting the bishop on b2, and then white on a good day.
Attack! Yes, Tom Randall's saying it's the attack.
Collie Zukertort attack. Yeah.
Well, he's put a question mark afterwards.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So maybe that's not what he means.
But it is. With the bishop on b2, white can sometimes go knight. I mean, white wants to go knight e5, f4, queen f3, queen h3, sort of like Pillsbury style attack.
I
think black's just copying white here at the moment.
Yeah.
Except the bishop's on e7.
E7 sort of.
It means that when white goes knight with the bishop on e7, it means that when white goes knight e5, black can at least take it off with the knight without allowing a fork.
Thanks for the follow, Rusty Guy Microbe. Oh, which one? Knight e5? Sorry.
Yeah, it means that with the bishop being on e7 instead of d6, it's not so actively placed, but it does at least mean that when white plays knight e5,
yeah,
and black swaps it off for his knight on b8, he's allowed to do that because d takes e5 won't fork the bishop and knight.
Yeah. No forks in the position.
So in this position, I suspect a move like knight d7.
Yeah.
And then if knight e5, I think black should probably try and take there and then, because otherwise white goes f4 next move.
Yeah.
Okay, shall we keep going?
So we have James Jackson, who has a teammate of mine for the Barbican for NCLT against Indy Southcott Moyers.
Okay, shall we
let's see how it was.
Start, yeah.
E4, E5, knight f3, knight c6, bishop c4, allowing the 2 knights, bishop c5, c3, knight f6.
Okay, so it's what's known as the modern Italian, where white just goes for this sort of modest sort of c3, d3 setup. I mean, this opening now is just incredibly popular.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at like a super GM tournament, there's usually like from about 45 games in the tournament, there's usually about 7 or 8 of these, basically.
I quite like this. This is sort of.
It's kind of like it. I mean, I play this as white and as black as well. It's kind of like it's sort of like the lazy man's Lopez, isn't it? Because with the Roy Lopez, you have to learn. With the Roy Lopez,
you don't have to move the bishop so far.
No, yeah, that's true. But yeah, but also I was more thinking about with the Roy Lopez, you kind of have to be slightly prepared for something like the Schliemann.
Yes.
F5 in sort of some crazy birds to fed, basically some whereas sort of I don't know disreputable defenses for black. But with the Italian game, there's not really that. It's not great deal that black can do. Really, I mean, you can play the 2 knights defense, or you can play bishop c5, and you could get pretty much the same position.
Yeah.
So it's very much about understanding the ideas. Yeah, so h6 just stops bishop g5 forever. Castles. h3. Likewise, white stopping bishop g4. Yeah, and a5 basically just gives an escape square for the bishop. Although it's already got b6, but there's quite a few lines where white expands with b4, then a4.
Yeah.
So a5 is like very much like the modern way of playing it for black, just stopping b4. Black can go a6 as well if he wants to.
I'm imagining black might go a4 a bit later in the game.
Yeah, exactly. There are lines where black gains space, yeah, with that. Okay, so white's gone for a very quick d4. Typically, white might move the knight to d2 to f1 first, but black keeps the tension, which is obviously what black wants to do. Bishop b3. Yeah, the bishop b3, part of the reason doing that is it just means that it doesn't get hit by d5.
Okay.
And also, Natasha, there's a possibility, for example, in some positions of black playing knight takes e4 with the bishop on c4, with that sort of fork trick.
Oh, yeah.
So it's quite a clever.
Knight takes e4, rook takes, and d4, d5.
Yeah.
4.
So all things like that, but it removes all of those sort of ideas for black, basically. So it's quite a clever move. Rook e8, and now they see the bishop's actually dropping back to c2, simply to yeah. I mean, actually, if white goes d4 early, like he's done in this game, he's got he's got to do quite a lot of moves then to try to protect his center. You don't really want to go d4 and then just swap on e5. That just
no, not really an advantage.
The whole White's kind of advantage, White's only real advantage in this position is having that nice d4 e4 center. However, he's got to be very careful. He couldn't, for example, play knight d2 to protect e4 there because the d4 pawn would then be hanging.
Thanks for the follow, Open. But so how's this knight? Because I was imagining the knight was going to go knight to d2, knight to f1, and then maybe knight g3 and knight f5.
That'd
but if
be
you
perfect.
do, don't you get you lose your pawn?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that would be perfect. So that's why White often plays knight d2 to f1 before playing d4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's using the bishop to protect e4, and I guess it's not clear what White does next. I mean, bishop e3.
Bishop e3, I think. Yeah,
and then knight d2. But with
Yeah.
bishop e3, you've got to be a little bit careful about pawn takes pawn exposing the e pawn.
e4 pawn.
Yeah, but the White's also got some tricks there because, for example, if you imagine the bishop on e3 and Black swapping pawns and White taking back with the pawn.
Yeah.
And then Black grabbing on e4 with the knight, White might be able to win a piece with d5.
d5, then swap off on b6, and then
exactly.
Yeah, that'll be it.
There's also possible counterplay for Black in these type of positions where Black could take on d4 here, and then go knight b4, takes, and then knight b4.
Hitting the bishop on c2.
Hitting the bishop, and if the bishop moves back to b3, then e4 is exposed. But there's always a danger, even when Black takes that pawn e4, there might be some tactic for White. Yeah, so it's not.
Well, James is playing very fast still. I suppose he's played this position many times before.
Perhaps he has. Yeah. So Black's got to make a move here. So bishop g4.
So if Black takes straight away on d4?
Yeah, White really wants to. Yeah, I mean White wants to take the pawn because if White takes the knight, the whole point of this sort of c3 d4 doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really work. So White wants to take the pawn, and then Black could either consider knight b4, or he could consider pawn to d5.
Okay.
And then if White goes e5, knight e4. That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see now. Okay. So now Daniel Wells against Borna Derekshani.
Okay.
Another England international is Borna.
Yeah.
So let's see it from the start. So we've got Hurricane.
Okay.
And a5.
I must confess, I don't know much about this opening. Do you, Natasha?
No.
No. What I do know is that sometimes the knight just goes. White doesn't go at a3 and b4. White sometimes just brings the knight around to b3, just to discourage c5.
Yeah.
But going a3 and b4, I'm not. I'm a bit. How does White maintain that pawn? Has White got to go rook b1 here? Yeah.
Yeah, rook b1. So what's the alternatives? Can you go b5?
Yeah, possibly b5. That is vague. Yeah, I think. B5 is possible, isn't it? Because then if Black plays c5, White can play c3 and keep.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how.
Yeah, rook b1. You probably do want the rook on b1, don't you? So.
I think White's whole idea is kind of trying to dissuade Black from playing c5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So rook b1 would be the way to do that, and then Black would have to go b6 to play c5. Yeah.
Yeah. Question about the turnout. So we've got GMs. There's Hebs and is Keith playing?
Yeah, Keith is playing. Oh, wait a minute. Whoa.
I thought he was.
I thought he was, but I'm looking at the pairings and he's not.
He's not. Yeah, there is. I know there were a few people who withdrew due to illness right at the last minute.
Oh, yeah. Also, I'm pretty sure Peter Wells was down to play, wasn't he?
He is playing. Peter Wells is playing.
Where?
Oh.
Oh, yes, he is. Yeah, you're right. He is playing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, sorry, he's playing on board 12, so we'll come to his game.
We will.
So that's 2 grandmasters, and Keith is playing.
Keith is, yeah.
He's
So
playing
we
on
have a
board
few.
9. We've got 3 GMs, yeah, and a few IMs.
Yes, yeah.
But the question, I guess, is how many active GMs have we got?
We've got stacks of active GMs.
I guess we've got
But I know,
stacks.
I tell you who really wanted to play and couldn't is Danny Gormally.
Oh yeah, yes,
He really
that's
wanted to play,
correct.
but he'd already committed. He's filming. He's doing some filming, so he was not able to.
Oh,
play.
I remember. Yeah. Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. Hi, Hellraise. How are you doing? And Gawain was due to play, but now he's playing Meltwater. Yeah. No, there's a lot of people playing other stuff as well. I guess, I was talking to Mickey and some of the other players, like, I don't know, a year ago. And they were saying, like, as everything comes out, of lockdown and stuff and events start happening, he was finding he was busier than he'd ever been. Like, there's really a lot of stuff going on. So that was the end of last year. Are you finding you're very busy at the moment, John?
Yes, I am. Yeah. Hopefully, have some time for. Well, I will be playing though soon.
I know you're playing soon because I'm playing at that thing as well, which is the seniors, the World Seniors team
Yes, exactly.
event.
So I'm looking forward to that, and I will
Very exciting.
We'll be getting some practice in before then. I've got a couple of tournaments lined up.
Oh, well done!
Yeah.
Well done. Very good.
So, okay.
Right. They haven't played any since we've talked about. Well, B5. He did my move.
He did B5. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. Okay.
So I suspect Black in that position will go C5.
Yeah.
Because if Black sort of takes on B5 at some moment, then it'd be difficult to attack the D4 pawn with anything.
But C5 looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think Black will want to go C5, and when White will probably play C3.
Oh, he's castled.
He'll do that at some point. I mean, the point is, the good news for White of playing B5 is if Black does go C5, then the knight can't go to C6 to add pressure to the pawn.
Yeah.
So it's actually quite good. So I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just wondering whether Black could consider sort of allowing or taking on B5.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And let's see.
Keith
this is an interesting one.
I kind of just thought, the reason I knew Keith was playing, but I thought, for some reason, we would have come to him by now, wouldn't we?
Yeah. But actually, there is quite a lot of strength and depth in this.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, because we're on board 9 already, and we've got a grandmaster there.
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and so
should we do this from the?
See if we can start. So this is going to be one of Keith's usual. Is it not quite Keith's usual pawn structure?
But I think this B4 move is actually one of his favourite moves against the King's Indian, though. Yeah. I think he likes it. This idea of just getting lots of space on the queen side very quickly.
Yeah.
Although I think typically he also.
Is it unusual, or is that a normal move, that B4?
It's not. I mean, it's not the main line. I think Keith also likes playing the G3 against the King's Indian.
Yeah.
I think he's had a lot of battles with Mark Hepton with that.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure he has played B4 a few times at least.
Yeah.
So White's idea is just to play. I mean, actually, it's a little bit like in reverse colours, like the King's Indian attack.
Yeah.
Where basically White will just go E3, Bishop E2, castles, and then play really aggressively on the queen side. Black might typically play moves like D6, Knight D7, E5. White will try and just get lots of space on the queen side.
Yeah. Castles. E3. And so Jude Shearsby's another young player. We've got loads of youth against experience battles in this first round. It's really nice, actually. Probably is sort of very nice for the young players, I think, to play like grandmasters in round 1 and see how they do. C6, because they probably would have played a lot of times before these two, I would imagine, because Keith's been playing a stack of online chess, and so has Jude.
Yes.
So who knows? I don't know if they played before, but this I am maybe not over the board though. B5. So we've got another A5, B5 here. A4 already, and Rook B1, and that's where they're at. So as you say, the key's going to expand on the queen side.
Yeah, but what Jude's done is interesting here. He hasn't played the usual sort of knight d7 e5 plan. He's kind of sort of fighting back on the queen side. This a5 a4 gets black a bit of space and also stops white playing a4.
Oh, that's interesting. So he's gone bishop e6 now as well, which attacks immediately the a2 pawn.
Yeah. So if white plays c4, do you think he'll just grab? He can just grab on b5. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so white's
so
taken. Yeah.
Takes, yes, of course. So I think he'll take back with the
pawn. I think probably.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. If he takes with the knight, then white will probably play c4 next move anyway. He's having a bit of a think, though.
Okay, let's keep going then. Ben Larkin against Adam Ashton.
Right. This
looks really fun. Look at it. It looks like black's moved to pretty much everything, and white's very compact. This must be a 2 knights.
This is the 2 knights. Yeah.
E4, E5, knight F3, knight C6, bishop C4, knight F6. So this is all very
he's gone for
theoretical, and this is a lot of fun.
He's gone for the critical line, knight G5.
Critical line, knight G5, D5. So Adam Ashton, he's the finance director, isn't he? Of the ECF, and his daughters are playing a lot and doing really well, and his wife also recently was playing in a WIM non-tournament, and she also did really well. So the whole family is very into chess at the moment. And this is the main line, basically, and bishop d3 is I would say the main line as well. And
so
then
for someone who's kind of like not knowing the 2 knights defense, the thought of bishop d3 is being the main line would be kind of odd, wouldn't it?
It looks weird blocking in your own d pawn, doesn't it?
But it's basically the crucial thing in this line is that it allows white after h6 to bring the knight to e4.
Yeah.
Whereas in the old move, bishop e2, black could go h6, knight f3, e4, attacking the knight, and the knight would have to keep moving, and black sort of gains time.
Yeah, so this lets white drop back.
Yes, to e4. However, after black's next move, knight d5 rather.
Knight d5.
Now the knight no longer doesn't want to go to e4 anymore because then it gets hit by f5.
Yeah.
So and then it goes back to f3 anyway.
Yeah, and then you get. Does black? I have a feeling black sometimes plays knight f4 straight away in this position.
Yeah,
maybe you get the bishop out and then knight f4. You get lots of early knight f4 in this.
Knight f4. Yeah, I was wondering if knight. I can't remember the theory very well on this position, but knight f4 makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, certainly bishop d6 castles, then knight f4. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Okay, so he does bishop d6.
Yeah, I'm just wondering actually knight f4 immediately looked interesting actually. But anyway, okay, there's lots of theory on this, so let's just stick to
yeah. I'm pretty sure they sometimes play knight f4 here.
Knight f4 is certainly possible here, and then white will just do. I think white plays the move rook e1.
Yeah.
And black can take on d3.
You take on d3 and sort of.
And then you often give up your e pawn as well, basically. But black gets very good compensation.
Yeah, because you've got those like bishops with open lines.
Yeah.
But the knight on a5 is always a bit odd, so you sometimes go.
You have to spend a couple of moves, to get it back into play. Yeah.
Yeah.
So in this game, he hasn't done knight f4. Though he's played castled rook e1. So now the point being is if knight f4 now, bishop can drop back to f1.
Right.
Which is and then white will play d3 and be super solid.
Yeah.
So maybe it's too late to play knight f4.
Too late for knight f4 now. It doesn't.
So black would So for example, in this position, I think black can even play f5 as well.
Okay, what here?
Sack the e pawn. I think that's a line.
Okay.
But he hasn't done that. He's just played queen c7, just sort of building up a little bit more slowly.
Yeah.
And white's move bishop f1 makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, just get it out of the
And
way.
yeah, and white's going to just play, say, I'm pawn up. I'm just going to go d3, knight c3, and
Yeah. Now Kevin's asking, have we had an English championship before, and has it some history? It's yeah, we have, and I think it's about the fourth or fifth or something like that. But it wasn't. I think there was a break, wasn't there, with the
yeah,
pandemic?
I'm not sure about an actual sort of independent English championship. I mean, obviously, with the last long, last quite a few years now with the British Championship, that's actually incorporated an English Championship. So I think that's what Kevin was mentioning there. The year that Keith and Stuart tied for the British Championship, and
Right.
Stuart won the playoff basically, so he became British
Okay.
champion. But basically, the English Championship basically automatically goes to the winner of the British Championship, typically.
Okay.
So on that occasion, I'm pretty sure they would have also shared the English Championship, basically. I
Right.
might be wrong. There's no reason why Keith would have won that on his own, because Stuart came equal first for them in that as well, basically. Yeah, but they wouldn't have had a playoff. So I think every single British Championship since then, I think there's probably the British champion has also won.
Hellraiser is saying it's the second edition. The first one was in 91, and Short was the champion.
Yeah, I do remember that one. Yeah, well, I can't remember what the circumstances were for that. I think it's because they were meant to be playing in some sort of world team championship or something. That got cancelled, so they held an English championship instead. And I think it was a knockout format, and it wasn't open though. It was only basically they just invited the players who were going to play for the England team. I mean, is this possible?
I like this though, having an open.
Is this possible? Is this possibly the first open English championship?
It's possibly the first
over the board.
Delacorte saying as well. The last time was 1991.
That certainly wasn't an open though.
Yeah,
that was only I think that was only the top 8 players.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay. So, but I think this is a great addition to the calendar. Because you can become the champion.
Well, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and so I was playing in the seniors one 3 weeks ago, and it's in a lovely venue as well. It's Kenilworth. I don't know if you know Kenilworth, John.
No.
I particularly they've got this really nice. So the hotel's right in the centre of town, and so it's really handy for food and stuff. But then you've also got a sort of park and very nearby the castle, so you can kind of do these walks to the castle just before your game. I think it's keeps you nice and calm and focused.
That sounds nice, actually.
It actually is really, really nice. Yeah, so I would recommend it.
It's good to have all these.
Oscar Hackner against Harry Zhang.
Yeah, it's good, nice to have all these nice new venues, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through this. This looks like a Catalan.
Yes.
Very popular opening nowadays, isn't it?
Knight f3, bishop e7, bishop g2, castles. Takes.
Okay, so he played the knight e5 line. And then again, knight c6. If you didn't know this opening, you think, well,
that looks weird, doesn't it? Because you could get tripled pawns there.
Exactly, yeah. White could take with the knight, white could take with the bishop. It just looks weird, doesn't it? But it's very important in this line. The reason it's played is very important for this line for black to gain activity in open lines. If black just allows white just to win the pawn back on c4 without that, and without being able to develop that bishop on, for example, with knight e5, you're simply stopping black playing all the b5 lines and bishop b7. Black's got to gain activity in another way. So, for example, if white takes with the knight and then takes with the bishop, black can play rook b8, and you can sort of see black's pieces.
Yeah, because to me, taking with the knight would be the more natural.
Yes, of course, it's kind of it's risk-free, isn't it? Taking with the knight, you don't want to give up your lovely bishop, yeah.
But yes, okay, but bishop takes. Oh, this is very interesting. Bishop takes, knight takes. I suppose you can you do take on e7, so you haven't lost the bishop pair.
Yeah, and then basically, so it's equal material now, and white could end up being a pawn up if
because this pawn on c4 is going to go, right?
Exactly. So black's probably going to, black typically just sacrifices. I don't think it's much choice. So he opens it up with e5. So opening up the bishop on c8.
Yes.
Yeah.
Bishop f4.
Okay, this is the position we've reached. Yeah.
That's
So
really
I mean, clearly, black's going to get some counterplay because of white's sort of slight weaknesses on the king side, the light square weaknesses.
yeah.
What white will try and do, sort of like, well, apart from trying to win the c4 pawn, white will possibly try and push the pawn up in front of his rook, go to pawn to f3.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, to sort of blunt the sort of
the white squares. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, maybe f3 and e4. Yeah, and
Yeah. Okay.
so
So how's this? Is this considered to be quite level? I think I would have fancied white just because of the weak c pawn.
I'm wondering about after queen c2. Often black plays c5 and gets the bishop out on b7. So I don't know what I don't know the theory of this anymore from here. I mean, typically queen. I'd have thought something like queen h5, perhaps.
Yeah, I would have thought queen h5.
But it's very possible also black could just play a few sort of like queen c5, not necessarily, just sort of making it harder for white to win the pawns, basically. Yeah.
Okay, and hold h5 in reserve.
Yeah,
h5
exactly. Yeah, just sort of later on, white might win the pawn, but just sort of.
Yeah, no rush.
Yeah, I mean black's pretty active, but queen h5. Black. I mean f3. I think against queen h5 would be my. I mean, if I was playing a blitz game, I'd just want to stop anything, basically,
Yeah.
coming to.
Interesting position. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to still keep hopping on. Right, now this is
this should be fun.
Another youth against experience. Yes. Max Pert against Peter Wells. So Max Pert is, of course, the son of Richard Pert, who we already saw playing. Max Pert's been doing fantastically well online. We've seen him play a lot.
Yeah, and over the board as well, he's been doing well.
And over the board as well. Yeah. Okay, yes. And Peter, experienced grandmaster, a very creative player. Let's see how they are doing.
This looks like an exciting position already.
E6, c3, c6.
So semi-Slav defense, and then bishop g5, which is.
Now, did Peter write a book on? What did he write?
He's next. He definitely wrote a book on this opening.
Yes,
he's an expert on it I think for both white and black.
Yeah. So Max is going into a line that the grandmaster's written a book on. But I would imagine Max has some prep from his dad as well. So.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah. I mean, this is a really critical line where black wins a pawn. And then he holds on to it with b5.
Oh, he's holding on for g5.
He'll go or g5 first, and now b5.
Look at how many pawns black's advanced. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So black's got the extra pawn. E5, knight h5, a4. So Max is trying to kind of loosen up black's position on the queen side.
Yes. After I must admit, I'm not. After e5, I was wondering. My first reaction would be knight d5, but obviously I defer to Peter's knowledge on this. I suppose white would play a4 anyway. Obviously, knight g5 that allows black just to swap the knight for the bishop whenever it wants to. I mean, e5 is by no means white's only move. I mean, white can sort of play h4 or bishop e2.
Yeah. Knight d5 does look like a normal thing to do. I imagine that knight on c3 might come into e4 at some point.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, it might do, and definitely might do in the game. After knight d5, knight e4 immediately, then bishop b4 check is annoying.
Hey, both players are playing very actively, aren't they?
They are. Okay. So a4's happened, yeah, after knight h5.
This happened. This has all happened.
Yeah. So black doesn't really want to push the pawn, Natasha.
Oh, Kevin's asking about knight takes g5.
In which position?
Could white have played knight takes g5?
Knight takes g5, h takes g5. Oh, instead of bishop g3, yeah?
Maybe.
Normally those sort of lines are where white's already got a pawn on e5. That's yeah. So there's a line where basically white's pawn's already on e5 and black's pawn's on b5, and then white would do knight takes g5, h takes g5, bishop takes g5, winning the piece back.
Yeah.
Here,
I suppose
I think
bishop e7 can defend.
Yeah, I think probably a bit risky, isn't it? I think black can just go bishop e7, and I don't think it's worth the 2 pawns as the piece sack.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. So there we go.
So in this position, Natasha, black doesn't really want to go b4 because then black's whole idea of this c6, this sort of pawn chain, is to try and keep it. Yeah. So the bishop can't. It's kind of that bishop on. The whole point is not obviously winning a pawn is good for black, but also the whole point you're winning a pawn, but also restricting that bishop on f1. Yeah.
Yeah.
If b4, then the knight just goes to e4, and then black's struggling to keep the c4 pawn.
Well, you can't defend with a6 because white can then just still take, can't he, on b5? So you probably have to defend with what, bishop d7?
Yeah, bishop b4 is possible here, pinning the knight.
b4, yes, clever.
Queen b6 maybe is also possible as a defense.
Yeah.
They've both spent a reasonable amount of time already, haven't they?
Yeah.
They're not blitzing their moves out. I mean, bishop b4 to me looks pretty natural.
Yeah.
It stops white breaking. It certainly temporarily stops white breaking black's pawn chain with pawn to b3, which is another weapon that white can use.
I don't want to say it too early in the game, but Peter does like to have a think.
He does, yeah.
Save that for when he's in time trouble.
So I suspect what's going to happen is that bishop b4 will probably happen. Then I think white then probably just goes bishop e2 and maybe castles, then knight e4.
Yeah.
And just gets on with it. I don't see a way for white to break down black's pawn structure. So white will just try and get castle, bring the knight.
So he's not really going to get the pawn back then.
No, but he's going to just rely on his sort of compensation on the king's side or in the center. Yeah, I mean, once the bishop goes to e2, there are possible sort of knight discovered attacks against the knight, maybe.
Cool. I wonder, is Nina playing as well? I haven't seen.
I didn't see her in the for the women's tournament.
The women's or the open,
yes, she is. She's playing in the women's tournament.
Marvelous.
So we can come to that
on
one.
That in a minute. So that's another family playing. Okay, another exciting one. Shreyas
against
Kumar.
Kumar, yeah. This is an all junior battle, yeah?
An all junior battle, and they've got through lots of moves. We're on move 18 already.
Okay.
So let's see. The juniors playing. Okay, c5. E5 and b5.
Benko Gambit.
We have a Benko Gambit on the board.
Have you ever played the Benko, Natasha?
I have. I played the Benko, but it didn't go very well. I've played everything against d4, everything there is. And the Benko, I did learn it all up, but it was ages ago. And I did only play it like once or twice. But the one I remember was this awful game. I was black against Marcus Osborne in some kind of British championship, and he managed to do it. So I had all my pieces as black. You're meant to get all this kind of free play and lines and all this sort of stuff. And I ended up having all my pieces on the back rank, none of which could move at all. And I thought, I'm not happy.
Oh, right.
It was horrendous.
But
I like the idea of the Benko. I think.
Yes, I played it quite a lot when I was younger. Actually,
yeah.
Thank
you, Kevin. Kevin's saying congratulations.
Oh yes,
the women's seniors. I'm very proud. I was the only one in it, but I did play well anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, that's fine then. So was that actually going back to the English seniors championship? Was that that was I guess was an open tournament too? Yeah.
Yeah. So anyone could play as long as you were old enough.
Was that the first one?
No, they've had it before. But it's the first one. I think it. It certainly is sponsored for the first time by Chessable, and I don't think it was played the previous year, but I think they had played it.
Okay.
Further back.
And you're talking about an actual English one rather than the British.
This was English, yeah.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yeah, it was strong though. My goodness, I was thinking, right, if it's seniors, it's going to be a bit weaker, but it was like out of 22 players, I was 18th seed.
Wow.
That's pretty strong, isn't it?
And you obviously did well because you played Mark in the final round, didn't you?
Yeah, I got 50% overall, which I was really pleased with. But yeah, so that's what. So any seniors watching this stream, please, even whatever strength you are, do consider playing because it's a lot of fun. and I think if we get more, not like the really top players, but just a mix of strength, I think it's because it's sort of a nice atmosphere and pleasant tournament. So there you go. So if you are watching, then do consider.
So okay, so basically what Shreyas has done here, he's played b6, just sort of giving.
Also play if they want to blitz and rapid. We're good. Why not? Yeah.
Listen,
it's a good idea.
Rapid.
No, because actually seniors often do prefer the faster time limits because we can't concentrate for so many hours in a row.
Was it you were playing 2 games a day, was it, or 1 game a day?
It was 2 games a day. I actually had some buys because I was doing other stuff as well. But but basically 2 days were 1 game a day, and 2 days were 2 games, something like that.
Yeah. So probably similar sort of time control to this tournament, I guess.
Oh, good. Simon's going to play. Loz is going to play if we get a blitz.
Oh yeah.
Kevin's going to play, I'm sure. So there we go. Excellent. Well said, people. Okay. But this is the other end of the spectrum, because this is 2 juniors.
This is 2, yes.
And they play fast as well.
So I think Shreyas is 13 or 12 or 13.
Yeah.
I'm not sure of Sam Kumar's age, but I think he's fairly similar, actually.
Okay, great. So they would have played each other lots of times, I'm sure.
I'm not sure, actually. So let's go back to the game. So so basically, Shreyas has played b6. So he just white gives the pawn back. And the idea being is that it means that black doesn't get the same sort of counterplay on the queen side, because black's got that a pawn now.
Yeah. Because normally you swap off both the pawns, don't you? And you go for these A and B file and lots of play down the open lines in exchange for having a pawn down. Black would have normally.
Exactly. Yeah. So white's probably able to play more on the queen side now because black's lacking an open A file.
Yeah.
So let's see what happens. Knight d2. Yeah, I mean, okay, that makes sense. The knight c4 is a nice square for the knight in this position.
Knight c4 there. Yeah, that does look nice, doesn't it? I suppose white would try and get e5 in, given the chance. Bishop f4.
Okay. Knight b6. Okay. Black would like to swap that knight off because it's a strong knight on c4, so he just retreated it. Okay. Bishop d7.
Have you coached these players, John?
Yes, I have coached quite a few of the English juniors. Yeah.
A5.
Yeah, I mean, e6 looks like a natural. I think black had to do something to get activity, and e6 looks like a very natural move. And now a5. So I think does the knight. What do you think's happening here? The knight's going to go back to c8, perhaps, or
yeah.
Oh, he has gone knight c8.
Okay. Knight went back to c8, and then we've got just a couple of moves: queen d2 and knight e7.
Oh, okay, yeah, that looks like a fairly balanced position.
So now, how's that? Is that black knight going to get?
I think black knight wants to go to c6 and then d4.
C6 and d4, of course. Yeah.
Meanwhile, obviously, white could consider sort of putting something on d5 at some moment.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of. So that white B pawn looks a little bit backwards. So if black does want to gang up on something, he could kind of put rooks on the B file, maybe.
Yeah, and both sides have got their sort of strengths and weaknesses here, haven't they? Yeah, I mean, the a6 pawn's obviously vulnerable, isn't it? Yeah.
Kevin doesn't like it for black at all with the pawn on a6. Yeah.
So the question is, what does white do now? I mean, white could consider sort of going knight c4, knight b6 to block the b file.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, knight c4, knight c6, knight b6 is possible. And then also that means that it's eyeing up the d5 square. But black has also got the knight going to d4, which then threatens knight b3. So there's quite a lot going on here, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
We'll see what
Let
happens.
us see.
Jacob
Watson against David Hayden. Okay, another Caro-Kann. We have exchange,
but then it's a Panov bot
attack.
Yeah, so we're going to get another sort of isolated queen pawn position. Although, going back a move, actually, with this move order, after knight c6, white could seriously consider playing the move c5 here.
Yeah.
Especially against knight c6, because it means that when white gets b4 in, b5 attacks the knight.
Right.
So, yeah, so for example, also if black tries to play b6 straight away, white's got bishop b5, pinning the knight.
Oh, yeah, that looks...
yeah, so I think the move order black's chosen, c5 is certainly a consideration here for white.
Right.
But he's also, but I think bishop d3, yeah, I think what David Hayden did after bishop d3 is a very good move. Just takes on c4 straight away. Once the bishop moves, it's always very natural to take, to force the bishop to move again. So now we've got a typical sort of IQP, yeah?
Yeah.
Bishop e3, b6, queen e2. Okay, so bishop e3 allows the queen to go to e2 with the pawn defended.
And that's where we are.
Yeah, so I think white typically would put a rook on the a rook to d1.
Yeah.
And the other one to e1 and try and, if possible, force through d5. That would be nice.
Yeah. Try for d5.
Black would probably...
I suppose black will just try and stop it.
Yeah, he might. Yeah, I mean, rook c8, maybe knight a5.
Knight a5, yeah.
And then not knight d5, but then...
Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Fine.
That's just trotting up that game.
And we have Paul Macklin against Samuel Herring.
This looks like another possible Caro-Kann, but this one does look like an exchange, doesn't it, this one?
All right, let's see it. Caro-Kann again. Exchange.
Okay, so this is a very solid way for white to play.
Which one's the higher seed, actually? I've lost... It alternates, doesn't it?
I think it's Paul Macklin's the FM, isn't he?
It's a FM. So he's white, so he...
Yes.
I guess he just wants a sort of quieter game at the start, and then...
Yeah, I mean, it's more strategic, isn't it? Yeah, white's got a... I mean, if you compare this to the Panov, of course, white's got a much more solid pawn structure. So it's basically like a Carlsbad, isn't it? A bit in reverse colours.
Yeah.
But if you imagine, compare this to normal Queen's Gambit declined, white's much more active than black would normally be. Yeah, for example, he's got a bishop on d3 rather than e2, bishop on f4. So yeah,
Big Evo is saying they like e5 rather than queen d7.
Yeah, e5 that's a trendy move. That's right. Okay. E5's is that here e5 exactly? Yeah.
Instead of queen d7.
Yeah, that's quite an interesting move, e5. Yeah.
Pawn sack, is it?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the actual theory now. I mean, all I know about e5 is probably what I think is the best, or what I consider the best move. But I don't know the theory. It's like h3.
Yeah. Oh, h3 is the best move.
Just ignoring it. Yeah, I think that's what. I remember Sam Shanklin playing that move and winning a nice game.
Okay, Keith's saying Kevin wants a second defense to e4. What are your views on the Caro-Kann? Depends what you like, Kevin.
Yeah, basically, I think the Caro-Kann is a good good second defense. As in, like, I imagine Kevin probably means that he wants he's got his main line opening, which has got lots of theory to, but he wants another line which he doesn't have to learn so much.
And it's when he doesn't feel like playing his main.
Yeah. So, for example, playing having sort of like e5 and then some sort of really sharp Sicilian, something that could be too much for some players. But having sort of like your main line, like e5 or Sicilian, and then having the Caro-Kann as a second, I think you can probably get away with the Caro-Kann not knowing it's not so much. Yeah. So there are ways of playing the Caro-Kann now, which are if you quite like, if you don't like closed positions, you can play the Caro-Kann and play fairly open positions.
Okay.
For example, in the main line, where white plays knight c3 and black takes, black can play knight f6. That's quite popular now. Yeah, this is a solid line for black. If white takes on b7, then black will play rook b8.
Yeah. And take back on b2.
Yeah, not immediately after queen a6, but he'll castle. Then there's lots of pressure against b2, basically.
Yeah. Okay. And so, like, when Keith plays it, he does his sort of minority attacks for black.
Yeah, I mean, Keith could
Okay,
easily get this position as
d5.
black, yeah?
Yeah.
Probably what Keith would try and do is exchange off the light square bishops, and then makes
Yeah.
it easier for black to arrange b5, and then finally, yeah, gets minority attack. Yeah, now that's quite a clever move taking on f3. Black would like to go bishop h5 and swap, but he's got to be a bit careful about knight e5 coming quite quickly.
Yeah.
So bishop takes f3 is a good move.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, the other knight would, if the other knight goes in now to e5, black just takes it off.
Yeah, and this is why black. This is another clever move, because if knight e5 by white is knight e5 followed by f4 would be a typical way for white to play. For example, knight e5, f4, queen d1, rook e3. You can sort of see an attack coming, can't you?
Yeah.
So,
sure.
so basically, black wants to swap on e5 straight away after knight e5, get rid of it.
Yeah.
But he can't do so at the moment because the queen would be a fork.
E takes so he goes back just to stop that fork.
Exactly. Yeah. And you can see white again. The white's queen's done its job on b3 now.
Yeah.
So it's going back. He's going to try and do some kingside action.
Yeah.
Rook a b8.
b8 is trying for b5.
Yeah.
Queen
e2,
stopping it. a6, trying for it again.
Yeah, and now white.
And now white allows it because
yes, obviously white could play a4, but that would kind of obviously that weakens the queen side slightly. So maybe black can then maybe go knight a5, and certainly a4 is a consideration, but he's decided just to allow b5.
Yeah. Now king h1. So this says to me that Paul Macklin wants to do an attack on the king side.
Surely white's next move is going to be knight e5 now.
He's going to do knight somewhere, knight e5, and he's going to go f4, and he's going to go all out. So this game is going to get very, very exciting.
Yeah. And
because I imagine Samuel Herring is going to, he's been playing to get b5 in, so I imagine that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, and there doesn't seem too much of a reason to avoid b5 now. The only other move I could think about here is the move knight d7.
Yeah.
Just so that knight e5 can be met by taking with that knight, basically. Right. But white, okay, yeah. I think b5 is the most natural. And notice though, after b5, black's got to still be a bit careful about getting b4 in because the a6 pawn will hang.
Yeah.
So after b5, white could play a3 and
just hold the queen side and play on the king side.
Yeah, because black can't play b4. Black can't play a5 at the moment. That's why this bishop on d3 is such a strong piece.
Yeah, looks nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And let's see, last one in this tournament, we have Gautam Shenbagakuma against Shabir Okai.
This looks like an exciting opening as well.
Okay. A bit more of this.
I actually had this opening as black in the most recent 4NCL.
Did you?
Against
with bishop c5.
Yeah, against Lupulescu, Grandmaster Lupulescu.
He played Romania.
He played the c3 move.
Okay. Thanks for the follow, jury and defense. Thank you. He played c3, okay, and you played...
Of course that's the main. I went knight f6, but then d4, which is the other. In a previous game we looked at, white played d3, yeah. But here d4
in defense. Okay, d4.
Mm-hmm. Takes e5.
E5, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, this is considered to be the most critical line, e5, and then d5, bishop b5. Yeah, so normally what I played in the game, that's the normal move for black is bishop h5.
Yeah.
But black's taken, and
so is this what you had in your 4NCL game?
Yeah, and I went bishop h5, which is theory, and my opponent went queen a4.
Okay.
And that's also queen c2 is normal, but queen a4 is also a move. But this is the reason why white doesn't castle early. Why white played moves like bishop e3 and knight c3 first. It means that he can meet bishop takes.
Oh, we're going to get takes with the g pawn.
Yes, exactly. And now white can actually use the g file for the rook. Yes. And the point being is that white wants black to take on c3, which he did do. It's more or less forced that move.
Yeah, absolutely.
After b takes c3, now that bishop on b6 is hitting its head against a brick wall on d4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Previously, the bishop on b6 was a strong piece. Now it's kind of out of the game. It can go to a5, but the c pawn's always a bit easier for white to defend than the d pawn.
So now white's going to just take the open g file and...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, white might go f4, f5,
f4, f5, f6, h4, h5.
Queen g4.
Open up the queen side, king side, and checkmate.
I think what black's got to do here is, I already don't particularly like black's position, but I think he went knight e7. That's perfectly what he needs to do. That's a good move, because he needs to try and get c5 in to get that bishop back to life.
Yeah.
And if I was, I'd be okay. That's quite okay. I might have been tempted by bishop d3 actually, but in this position.
Yeah, bishop d3. What, queen c2 after that?
Oh no, maybe just f4, queen g4. Just get the queen out that way.
Yeah. Thanks for the follow, Brian JWX.
But queen d3 also makes sense, because I suppose the bishop maybe wants to come around to c2 via a4.
Yeah, I think white's definitely got some attacking plans in this game. But so yeah, okay, that's fine. But where does white put the king? Is it just going to stay?
It might stay. It might just stick around in the set. I think it's actually where it is. Maybe. Yeah. Even just like f1, for example. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Okay. I think I would want to play this as white.
I think, yeah. I mean, bishop d3 I like, because I quite like the idea of going f4 and bring my queen to g4 or h. That sort of.
Yeah.
But after queen d3, because after queen d3, we still have to get our bishop in the game. I quite like black's next move, queen c8. We're not actually. We don't bother chasing the bishop back to a better square. Yeah.
Because he's thinking of going queen f5 and.
Yeah, and also supporting c5.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, nice. Nice move.
If black can get c5, and then his bishop comes to life again. Yeah. And that's why I think that's a better move than c. Because if black plays c6, the bishop would just drop back to a4 anyway. I mean, basically, the bishop's going to do that anyhow, so let's not chase it back to its best square.
Yeah. Okay. So the bishop does go back.
Yeah.
Okay, and this is where they are.
This is it. So basically, now bishop c2's coming. Black's going to have to meet that with g6, and then I guess white will start going h4. Yeah.
Yeah. Attack with everything you got.
But it does mean that with the queen in front of the bishop, black's going to be able to play moves like queen f5 or after g6 or knight f5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, we'll start. Okay.
Interesting. Okay, I'm going to let's switch to the women's tournament. So if I do that and that, did that? Wait a minute. Women's tournament there.
Okay.
We have it. Okay, so we have, this is top board. We have May Caitlin Catterby against Lan Yao. So now this and
Lan Yao is the top seed, isn't she? Yeah.
She is. She wasn't until yesterday. So there was Kata was top seed before. And she's, I think, retired ill. And so Lan Yao is the new top seed. So Lan Yao, I don't know if you know her, John. She's really, really strong, really great British hope. She's changed to England very recently, and she's been studying in London for a while. And she's a very strong player, like 2270, something like that. No. Is that right? 20? Yeah.
2276.
But she's playing better than that. She's playing way better than that.
Is she a student then?
Yeah. She was studying, I think, history.
Oh, okay. In London, yeah.
Yeah, in London. And so she's been playing quite a lot of chess recently, and she's got more to come after this. And she's going to be playing for England in the Olympiad as well.
And that's is that in July?
Yeah, and so yeah, just fantastic. We've got her representing England, so very, very exciting. And I'm going to build her up I'm going to build her up way too much, aren't I? And then jinx her, but we're not going to jinx her. But of course, May Caitlin Rose Catterby has been also she's a very young player and has been playing a lot of online chess and improving really fast as well. So it's a fascinating clash here.
Let's see how it goes.
Okay.
So is this the first Open Sicilian that we've had?
Yes, it's the first one today.
Yeah. Okay.
64 CD.
So
they're going for mainline stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, this is known as the Taimanov variation. I've played this a lot as black actually. And knight b5, yeah, and that's actually interesting move. It looks like an obvious move actually, just attack the queen, yeah. So that's why black often goes a6 to stop it. But actually, the queen is fairly happy on b8 because the queen wants to be. That's the best diagonal for the queen, typically in the Sicilian, especially in this type of Sicilian. That long diagonal the queen's on. Now, yeah, this is interesting because after a6, yeah, white just went knight to d4, but white has actually got a very interesting move here. Have to visualize this. Instead of knight d4, white could play the move bishop b6.
Oh, bishop b6. So if takes,
then knight takes, and then
knight takes,
threatening bishop c7, trapping the queen.
Ooh,
yeah, that's actually quite an interesting line. And I think that's kind of what if white is playing for knight b5, that's probably what white should do. Because if you think about
how would you defend? Just go like d6 or something? No, that doesn't defend at all.
No, it doesn't defend it. I think black plays bishop b4 check,
right?
c3, and then bishop back to a5.
Bishop b4 check. Oh, so yeah. And bishop a5
we can't actually. I suppose we can't actually show.
I can't do. I'm sort of tempted to switch where I'm doing this. Shall I just switch on to chess 24?
Could do, yeah. We've got time. It's not like we're in time trouble. We could switch to chess 24 for a little bit.
Let me just switch to chess 24 and we'll see if I can put things on the board a bit more. Okay, give me one moment. I've of course got two chess 24 tabs open. I want to get to the women's one. Well, I might take 2 attempts at this. And that's the men's one. And men's the open. Let me try one more time. I'm now sharing a million screens. Luckily, you guys can't see it. Let's just put that one on the screen. What can you can still see?
I can still see the DGT screen.
Right.
With yeah. Okay, now I can see the English. Yeah. Now.
Yeah. I'm just trying.
That's the chess 24 English Championship.
That's that one. Oh, I've got that twice. And that one. That's what we want.
Yeah.
So let me get that into the middle of the screen.
Yeah, because at the moment I can only see the 8th rank.
Can you see that now?
Yeah. Now we should get rid of the we should get rid of the engine bar.
Yeah. Okay.
Which you can do by going, see those three lines?
At the bottom here.
Yeah, click that. And then click computer analysis and that goes away.
Analysis. Bye.
We want to use our
bye engine. We don't need you.
Well, we do, but we'll try anyway. So basically now I think you can highlight things, can you? And you can yeah.
Can you see? You can't see everything yet.
I can see the board.
Yes. Okay.
And also the chat, or the chess 24 chat.
Yes. Okay. Put the moves.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool.
So we were looking at that position, weren't we? Should we have a look at that position again after 7 bishop e3? Yeah, so this move, I think you can probably put it in. Can you just here?
But I can just play the moves here.
Bishop,
So
bishop,
bishop
B6.
e6.
Yeah.
Interesting move. So
Yeah, pawn takes, knight takes. Now white's threatening bishop c7, yeah? And also, of course, knight c7 check is also quite nasty.
Yeah.
Forcing the king to e7. So what black normally does here is bishop b4, check, c3, bishop a5.
Okay.
And then white goes knight c7. And if black plays the move, king e7, king f8 rather, king f8. Then white plays knight takes rook, I believe.
Yeah.
Queen takes.
Yeah.
And then queen d6 check.
Ah.
Knight e7. No, the other
E7.
knight normally.
Sorry. Yeah. Knight e7.
And then queen a3, pinning the bishop and threatening b4. So at the moment, white's got a rook for 2 pieces, but b4 is threatened, which I don't think black can escape.
So is this kind of a main line, John?
It is a main line, yeah. So what actually happens, basically, if you go back to position after 10 bishop a5, after white plays knight c7, the best move for black is simply going queen takes c7, giving up the queen.
Gosh.
And yeah, but black's already a piece up, and he's got 2 pieces of the queen there, so he's actually got 3 pieces.
Okay.
And white's also got an extra pawn, yeah?
Yeah.
And this is kind of considered sort of double-edged, just interesting. But going all the way back, if white is going to play knight b5, white should probably commit to this, because otherwise you probably, if you're just going to go knight back to d4, you're probably just going to lose a bit of time, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, maybe not much time, but
yeah. So this position here.
Yeah, bishop b6.
So the idea, yeah. So bishop b6, interesting.
But she played knight d4, and of course, after knight d4, if the queen goes back to c7, we're just back to square one. If you see what I'm saying, yeah, back to normal lines. But black, I guess maybe black can, and that's more or less what happened in the game. Black did go. She didn't play queen c7 immediately, but
she went knight f6.
What black could try and do is actually sort of just develop the pieces and like sort of see if we can get away without going queen c7 for a while.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's see what happens.
So knight f6, a3, and then actually she does go queen c7.
Bishop d3.
Big Evo plays this from time to time, but no one goes into the queen for 3 pieces.
Ah. Yeah.
D4. Bishop takes d4.
Bishop c5. Yeah, this is a solid way for black to play. I don't like this move, bishop c4, actually. It looks a little bit
loose.
Well, also, I don't really think that's the best diagonal for the bishop.
Right.
Blunted by that pawn on e6. I mean, for example, b5 here just looks like a very natural move for black, yeah?
Yeah.
So in that position,
white was, I suppose, trying to make sure that bishop on d4 is defended.
Yeah, I think basically white should probably just swap bishops and castle and play for sort of, maybe king h1, f4, typical Sicilian play. The bishop was on d3, doing it was okay.
Yeah. And now it's going back to b3.
Yeah, and black will go bishop b7 or whatever. Oh, d6. Okay, that's because e5 may be a move for white otherwise. Yeah, but I think this is very solid for black now.
Bishop b7.
Yeah.
f3. And that's where we're at.
That's right. So I guess maybe Lanyau's deciding whether to castle kingside, allowing white if white wants to go bishop takes f6.
Yeah. So that's.
Or black.
And then black would have the bishop pair, and the attack doesn't seem that.
No, and also of course the black's bishop on c5 looks like a monster piece, then doesn't it?
Yeah.
So I think black can safely just castle here. I mean, obviously she could just take on d4 as well, but I mean, and then castle. So even though I didn't particularly like bishop c4 to b3, white's position's pretty okay. It's pretty solid,
yeah. Cool. Right, let's see. Okay, so we've got 2 juniors.
Yeah.
Elise against Anusha. Let's see how this one's gone. So d4, knight f6, bishop g5, knight e4. Trompovsky. Bishop f4. Yeah, Heb's played the tromp against me. d5, f3, knight f6, knight c3.
Yes, she's played this quite aggressively, basically going for an early e4, yeah?
Yes. c6 and e4 she's got in.
Got it in, yeah. I mean, I'm tempted for black there instead of c6 going, of just attacking the center with c5.
Okay, so
yeah, typically if you think about when people play f3 or even f6 in sort of queen's pawn openings, you want to attack with your c pawn, don't you? So c5 would be a move that black.
So maybe that's another one to consider.
That's the most aggressive way for black to play. Yeah. With c6, black's more like playing a Caro-Kann, sort of holding it. Yeah. Except actually that doesn't actually happen, does it? Because after e4, we get a swap.
Takes. G4. e2 takes. And e6.
Yeah. So this is solid. I quite like what I mean. White's got quite a nice position there with the 2 pawns in the middle.
Queen d3, a6, and castle's long.
And then b5. Here we go.
So we're going to have attacks on both sides of the board. Queen f3, queen a5. Looks like black's reasonably fast.
Yeah, actually, this is quite interesting because actually, black's actually threatening b4 to trap the knight on c. Oh no, the knight's got b1. Sorry, but what I actually meant to say was if white plays the natural move here, which is king b1, then b4 actually traps the knight. It doesn't have any squares.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I mean, that's what white would like to do. If that knight was missing from e2, if that white would just go king b1, b4, knight e2, yeah, and be very happy because the knight could even come to c1 to defend the king.
Yeah.
And the queen actually, also the queen on a5. Once black goes b4, the queen on a5 sort of actually blocks the a pawn, doesn't it? So it's not ideally placed. But white's actually got to white's actually got to, I mean, b4's a threat here, isn't it? b4, knight, b1, queen takes a2. It's kind of a threat.
Yeah. And white's played actually bishop takes b8.
Okay. This is going to get the f file open very quickly.
Right.
That is a really crude way of getting the f file open, isn't it? Just swap your bishop off.
They've both been very direct.
Yeah. So rook takes b8 and then e5, and then the point is that rook f1's coming.
Knight d5 and rook f1. Yes, you're absolutely right on that. It's quite nasty though, isn't it?
It is, except black can go rook b7. We did activate by doing rook takes b8. We activated that rook, so rook b7 with horizontal defense.
Nice.
And that's actually what happened, yeah.
That's nice maneuver by
Knight takes d5. Okay, that's a good move. C takes d5. Now king b1 can happen. Oh, queen c3. Let's go back, shall we? Yeah. I'm not sure about that move. I mean, what I'm thinking here is that a move like king b1 now. And the point being is that blacks find it difficult to develop the bishop from f8 without dropping the f7 pawn.
Yeah, you can't put it on e7 for sure.
Yeah, so and if it goes to b4, then I'm just going to go c3.
C3, and where does it go?
Back to f8.
Back to f8. That's not.
But ironically, actually, that may be quite a good idea for black because by going c3, you've now given black counterplay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe bishop b4 is a really nice move. And then basically black just does nothing on the king and just hopes that b4 works. It still feels that white should be doing quite well here. For example, knight c1 is a nice move here in this position.
Knight c1.
And the knight's coming to b3 or to d3.
Yeah.
And it's still difficult for black to develop. And also b4 could conceivably be met by c4.
That's
b4 from black.
Yeah.
Could possibly c4 by white. The pin on the rook, and black doesn't really have much attack, I think, and then also knight b3, swap on d5, rook c1. This just looks really good for white, actually.
Okay. So how was that? This was king b1 instead
King
of
b1, yeah. I think white should try and keep that. I just feel like black, again, going back to the principle that, I mean, I might be wrong. We could look at queen c3, but going back to the principle that obviously whoever's got the weaker king, if your opponent's got the weaker king, you should keep the queens on the board.
Yeah. And black's king's weak because it's just not castled, and
yeah, once it gets cast, I think it's the fact that it's just
so easily.
well, yeah. Unless after king b1, I'm just wondering what black can do. Knight c1 to b3 or to d3 is a very natural plan. Yeah. Okay, so queen c3 happened, and of course black has got to exchange. Yeah, because the queen c8 is disaster. Knight takes, and now it just feels okay for black now.
Yeah, what look just like bishop out to somewhere and then castle and.
Yeah, bishop b4 maybe. Knight moves.
Yeah.
And then even king e7.
Yeah. How old is Anusha? That's what I was trying to remember. And I didn't quite get to looking it up on the FIDE.
I think Ellis is very. Ellis is
Ellis is very young.
10 or 11, yeah.
Yeah.
I think 10 perhaps. So she's done really well, hasn't she, Ellis? She's had some excellent results.
Yes.
Anusha, I'm not.
I've definitely heard it. I think she might have had some very good results.
Yeah, she has. I think she's a bit older though. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah. Okay. Maybe there's someone in the crowd. Maybe knows.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine. So let's see the next one.
Board 3.
Okay. So now we have Sarah Sengenberger against Nina Pert.
Nina. Yeah.
So Nina's the sister of Max, who we saw. Max's game just now, and the daughter of Richard Pert, and we saw his game just now as well. So e4. I don't think I know Sarah. Do you know Sarah?
I don't know.
No. Okay. e4.
Another Caro-Kann.
Another Caro-Kann. We've had a lot of them today. Another exchange one, in fact.
Oh, I just had a message. Anusha was born 2009, so she's 13.
2009, so she's
12 or 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. c3. Thank you. Queen c7. Bishop g4.
Yeah, so queen c7 is a clever move. It prevents white from playing bishop f4 and taking that diagonal. If you notice, remember in the previous game we had, white went a very early bishop f4.
Yeah.
So what's happened is that white's played knight e2 now to allow bishop f4, albeit with the knight on the less active square now.
Okay, Ellis, Theo, Jude, Harry, and Soam, all 2010.
Oh.
Wow, that was a good chess year.
The class of 2010, yeah?
Yeah. And Max, also 2010.
Yeah.
Queen b3. Okay, so breaking that pin, so renewing the threat of bishop f4. And so black takes off the knight.
And then goes, yes, and then goes east. Oh, wow, okay.
Oh, I missed it. I missed it. Okay,
to be honest with you, in the starting, I saw the final position and black was a pawn up, and I did wonder how black won that pawn, and this is it.
Yes.
So it looks like Nina sprung a nasty trap there, yeah?
She did a trap because of
course.
Probably,
so queen b3 is probably not, well, it can't be correct, yeah? Queen b3.
Yeah.
So probably what white should do is play, I think white typically plays f3 here, or maybe castles first.
Yeah.
And then f3, and then bishop f4 or queen e1 to that's
if you've castled. See, if you've castled, then even if you move that queen, then your bishop on c1 is at least defended.
It's true. Yeah. And also I just thinking once we get to this situation, I don't think queen b3 is not like the typical plan for white now anyway.
Big Evo's going to play it the next time he plays Nigel Towers.
Yes.
You know, Nigel sometimes watches these streams, though. He might be wise to it. We'll see if he has, Big Evo. We can see if Nigel has actually watched the stream or not.
I guess white could actually play king takes e2 here. That would actually avoid losing.
That is true.
Maybe not so bad, actually. King e2, then castle by hand, yeah? So king takes e2, rook d1, king f... Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so
guess you just missed it.
yeah,
That's right. Yeah.
it's easy to miss that attack with the bishop on c1.
Yeah. Takes. Yeah. e6. Castles. e6.
Yeah, I like this queen c6 move. It stops any checks.
Right.
I've still got to be a bit careful because obviously if white could get a check on that diagonal, that could be a bit of a pain. But I guess she went a6 now, yeah?
She'll have to, won't she? Because you don't want to allow.
White's actually getting a little bit of play, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, because I'll get knight in as
Knight
well.
in, and then rook c1's coming, so she went queen there. But now knight a4. Knight a4 is even a possibility last move.
Oh, just here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trying to fork
Knight,
on.
and then knight b6, and then queen a4 check. I mean, what's going on here?
Okay. Yeah.
That looks quite dangerous, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Is this the trapper trapped?
Could be.
I mean, what does black do after knight a4? It's not obvious, is it?
Well, you don't want to give up the exchange, so
No. You can have to move your rook or your queen, yeah?
have to move the rook or the queen. So say you move the queen.
Rook. Let's maybe move
Rook.
Move. You could, yeah, okay, yeah. Whatever you do, I think knight b6 is coming next. So
say you rook. Come on, where do you want rook?
rook d8, maybe, yeah. Knight b6.
Yeah.
Queen somewhere. Because if you go to c6, we just go rook c1, yeah. And now we can play queen a4 check. But the question is actually, and the king has to go to e7. So I suppose the question is, though, how much does white actually gain from that? And maybe thinking about it now, because b6 is hanging. So we have to, if we had our rook on c1, we could go knight c8 check, and that would be basically game over. But we're going to have to defend that.
Have to defend that knight.
Yeah,
so
maybe
like
queen a5.
a5.
But now black can maybe go king f6 and g6 and king g7.
That's a bit of a different game, isn't it? King.
Well, maybe that's only one option. I mean, maybe rook c1 is slightly annoying at the next move, though, for black, isn't it?
Yeah, rook c1 threatening knight c8.
I can't believe how much play white's got from this, from earlier on, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, she didn't play knight a4, she went rook c1.
Rook c1.
I think that gives black a critical
tempo to just get it.
Well, knight e7.
Knight e7.
Yeah,
and what about now? You can still do this thing, right?
I think knight a4 still has to happen, yeah.
Yeah. Knight a4. I suppose you can now defend with knight c8.
Yeah, but then white could consider taking on c8, then going knight
c8.
b6.
Yeah.
And black's not got many pieces left on the queen side.
Interesting. Yeah, so we want to see knight a4.
But that didn't happen. Bishop d3.
It didn't happen. Bishop d3.
And now knight c6. And by this stage,
Nina's much now.
Yeah, Nina managed to consolidate. Yeah, rook e1. Rook e1 does threaten to take on d5, but after bishop e7, that stopped.
So what about? Oh, so if knight takes d4, we're just going to go queen d5.
Maybe queen takes d5, and white's got some play. Yeah, if we can win that d5 pawn, then white's definitely getting play. But bishop e7 is really solid, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this is nearly like the last chance for knight a4, but it's obviously not going to be anywhere near as good. And after knight e2, then black's just better now. Yeah.
Castles a3. Yeah, and so it is the extra pawn.
Yeah.
Black. Okay. Good for Nina. Let's see. Okay. Alagamal against Julio. Okay.
This looks like some sort of modern Benoni, yeah? Or actually it gets more blocked though, doesn't it?
Five, eight.
Now, yeah, this is a sort of a check Benoni pawn structure now, isn't it, Natasha?
Yes. Now they always say the check Benoni is a bit dodgy, don't they?
Yeah.
That's really, yes, that's.
It
I've
is.
never
Yeah.
tried it myself. Yeah.
I did play it a little bit when I was younger, much younger, and yeah, you do get quite cramped.
So takes.
Yeah, white wouldn't normally swap off the bishop. That's why it's better bishop the dark squared one, isn't it?
Okay, so do you think bishop f6?
Probably not. Probably not even if you're not going to swap. Probably not even bishop g5 because when I mean, white's got lots of ways of playing. I mean, white can actually, for example, white can even go g4. Not in this particular scenario. I just think with the dark square bishops on the board.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or possibly rook b1 and b4. So I think this game is going to take a while to sort of to get going, isn't it? Rook b1, so b4 is coming. a3 and b4, I guess white would normally play here.
Right. Yes.
But you can still see what black's doing now. Black's probably going to go knight h5, knight f4.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
kingside counterplay.
This looks okay for black, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah, exactly. I think white kind of misses that dark square bishop in these sort of situations.
Yeah.
Once black's knight gets to f4, you're thinking, well, if I had a bishop, at least I could swap it off.
Swap it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Having a dark square bishop, you can only swap off one of black's knights, can't you? You can't swap both of them.
True.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to take a while, isn't it? But
okay. And let's see.
Oh, this game's.
Megana, who we have some Megana fans in the chat from Warwick University, against Aga, who is the ECF Women's Director, very popular lady. Okay, d4, d5, c4, e6, d3.
Okay, so another Catalan. Yes, this is something slightly different though, because white's had to. I quite like what black's done here, because normally white after c5 gets the knight to f3, so you can take with the knight. By taking the queen, we'd have to move our queen again.
Yeah.
Queen d1, bishop b4 check. So black kind of is able to develop quite quickly.
Now, I know the Warwick University, I know they typically play all these. I think Louise was Warwick, wasn't she? And Louise Head.
Okay.
And there were all these kind of Warwick University pet lines. So I think things with like an early G4 and all this kind of stuff. But I don't know if Megana plays any of these kind of lines. Takes. Okay, so they're swapping off queens.
Yeah, black's managed to grab a pawn and just wondering how white gets it back.
Okay.
If possible.
Maybe she can't.
Yeah, I think that's a slight issue, basically. So it's going to be quite tricky because that knight blocks the diagonal now on d5, and black can safely go b5, I guess.
Just defend with b5, and that's just extra pawn.
Yeah. Yeah, so this is a better position for black. I'm just going to rook it. Is it?
Okay, one.
Yeah.
She's going for a4, I suppose.
Yeah, but that can easily be blocked by a6.
Mm.
Just feels good for black, actually, this position now.
Yeah, it does.
Oh. Okay, so that's how we got that funny swap, yeah?
Yeah. Okay, black's coming in and going to take this b pawn.
Yeah, this is looking very good for black.
Okay.
It's very possible black can go b3, followed by knight takes b2.
Oh, just give up the knight and then queen one or both.
And while I have to give up the rook.
Yeah. Okay.
Even if yeah. Okay. We've got one more game in this. Oh no, that was it actually, wasn't it?
That's all the games in the women's.
Okay.
Okay. Fine. All right. We're going to switch back. Should we check back in on the open event?
They would have actually got. They've actually been playing now for quite a long time, actually. Is it nearly 2 hours?
Yeah. So
They would have progressed quite a way.
yeah. So we've looked at all of these games a little bit, but this game we only saw up to about move 2 or 3 because we just saw it right at the start of the stream.
Should we get rid of the assessment bar?
Let's do that, yes. Goodbye.
Yeah. Switch our own brains on.
Yeah. All right.
So
Head against Jacob as well.
Yeah. Should we just sort of quickly flick through those? What's happened? Okay. So it's like an E3 Slav. This is kind of all theory, I think. White gets the bishop pair, but black is pretty solid.
Wrong.
So this is where we got this little pawn imbalance. So black's got this sort of queenside pawn majority now, but obviously there's nothing stopping white's center moving up now. So indeed, that's what he did.
So this is where they are.
Yeah.
So now, do you think Hebbs has any advantage here?
I think I do slightly prefer white.
Yeah.
Just because of this sort of unopposed center. And it's difficult for black to really do anything on the queen side. Those pawns look impressive, but as soon as you go b4, then your c4 become weak.
Yeah.
So I think white can sort of slowly build up. I'm thinking about maybe moving the knight around to e2 to g3 or f4 maybe, and just centralizing the rooks. And then we've got possible g5 attacking knight, and then d5 or e5. It feels like white's just got more possibilities than black. Yeah. I don't think white will. I don't think white will play moves like b3 or a4. I think white will just leave the queen side.
Leave the queen side as is, and then play.
Yeah, exactly. And say if black wants to try and play on the queen side, that's up to you. But I'm just going to sit back. I'm not going to touch my queen side, because I think basically the queen side's black's hope for counterplay.
And white's so black's retreated that knight.
Yeah, I think what black's doing is that the knight can come around to b6 perhaps. Yeah, although he's got to watch out for d5.
I was just thinking, yeah, what about d5 straight away?
Sure, yeah. Well, d5 is possible here for white, but white's got to be a bit careful of moving the pawns too quickly, because then, for example, knight c5 or knight d3 or bishop c5.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I think white will just keep. I mean, that pawn center in itself controls a lot of squares, so I think white will just simply keep those pawns there until he's good and ready, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
I was wondering whether black could consider f5.
Oh, well, so if white just puts a rook in the center or something, and black.
Yeah, exactly. Rook d, or I think maybe knight. I think white's next plan will be maybe knight e2 to f4. Yeah. It's not absolutely clear. It's not absolutely obvious what's best for white, to me.
Hebbs might like it if black plays f5, just because that.
Yeah, exactly. Well, white's thing about f5, it doesn't really threaten anything strategically. It's not really changing the status quo of the center, is it?
Mm.
And maybe it would certainly encourage knight e2 to f4, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Because that e6 and g6 pawns are weak.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they have to kind of play quite quietly.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a problem with white playing knight e2 now. The only thing I'm thinking maybe for black is, could black consider playing e5? Which allows white a protected pass pawn with d5, but would at least give black the c5 square.
Yeah, that might be his plan. G5.
G5's happened. Okay.
Stopping your f5 idea.
Yeah, or at least discouraging it, perhaps.
Discouraging it.
And white could, to be honest, white could just go h5. Yeah.
Yeah. He probably will.
Just attack on the king side. Why not? Keep the center solid. Attack on the king side.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, yeah. I like Mark's position here.
All right. Let's see, Marcus. So this was the 1b6 against anything.
Oh, okay. Should we quickly see how this occurred? Well, they haven't actually played that many. They haven't played so many moves, have they, in this game?
So, okay.
So what did White decide to do? He did go e4, but c5. Okay, so Black stopped White getting the big pawn center, but we got a sort of Maroczy instead. Yeah, pawns on e4 and c4. In fact, it's more like it's actually an This is really solid for White, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, is he going to try and swap off that bishop on h6? Not yet, anyway.
Possibly. I think what White's going to, I mean, these positions, what White's going to do is sort of just stick, maybe go b3, and he's got that nice sort of paunch, some triangles and whatever. What is it? It's like a pyramid, isn't it? I guess.
Yeah.
But then he'll sort of stick his rooks in the middle and then go knight d5 at some stage. Yeah, Black probably has to try and get somehow Black has to try and get e6 and d5 in to get any counterplay.
Yeah. Because Black's the higher rated player, he'll be wanting to. He won't just want like a solid game.
Well, even if you're the lower rated player, you've got to try and get counterplay. You've got to, I think, it's very, very difficult. That bishop on b7 is just blunted by that pawn on f3, pawn on e4, f3. The typical sort of counterplay Black will get in the accelerated dragon, the a6 and b5, that doesn't really exist there. So I think Black's going to have to be really, really patient. No, I don't think. I think he might just try and be manoeuvring his knight around to c7 to e6, trying to sort of. I don't know exactly. It's not. Yeah. It's simply not that easy for Black. b3 happened, knight c7, and now bishop d4. So I'm wondering, basically, I think actually this has turned out about as best as Black can hope for. Because I think Black's got a reasonable plan now. With the offered exchange, I think Black can play the move bishop takes d4.
Okay.
Can we play that out on here?
Yes, we can.
Yeah. And then queen takes d4. Now White's got this tremendous amount of space in this Maroczy bind. However, one plan Black can do in these sort of positions is he's managed to swap off the dark square bishop. So what he does now is he goes e5 to put his pawn on a dark square. And after the queen moves, he then moves the knight to e6 to come to d4. And the best case scenario for Black is if White sort of goes knight d5, Black then swaps off his bishop, his bad bishop. Well, no, sorry, not his bad bishop, but and after pawn takes, what we're left with a good knight versus bad bishop scenario, knight d4. And suddenly this looks perfectly okay for Black. Although even here, of course, this is, I mean, obviously, first of all, bishop could move and then White could go f4, I guess. But this is probably this is about the best that Black can hope for. And this isn't bad at all, actually, for Black. A bit worried about bishop a6 there, actually.
So we do have some more moves. And actually, Black did not choose to...
Oh, he played bishop b5. That's also, I like that move as well.
Bishop f6.
Oh, you went bishop f6. Okay, that move I don't like so much.
Bishop b5.
That's okay. So we've got some sort of issue. That's obviously didn't happen.
This isn't right, isn't it?
No. Can we sort of? Is it possible to go to live, refresh somehow?
Let's if I refresh the tab, let's just click live. All right, I'm going to see if we can. So bishop d4.
Bishop f6 is just not a good move. White would just take it.
No, this did not. Yeah. Okay, well, there's some kind of problem.
So I've got a feeling. I mean, a couple of possibilities here is that maybe the game's finished and they were moving the pieces.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh no, this is better.
Did that actually happen? Yeah. They're still going on, aren't they? The clock's
So
moving.
bishop d4. Okay, here we go. Bishop d4. It looks like he did actually take.
They've corrected it, haven't they? Yeah. E5. So this happened. Yeah. Here we go. Queen e3 is our analysis. I think
That's our
basically.
analysis.
Yeah. So the positions actually have.
So they're actually following our analysis now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine.
So this is. Yeah, I'm starting to feel a bit more confident about Black's position now. White didn't have to play bishop d4. It's possible that White should have refrained from swapping bishops. Because Black doesn't have, without the swap of bishops, Black doesn't really have the plan. Okay.
All right. So back to Richard Pert against 2010 baby Theo Cowrie.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, we got some way of this with this one.
Yeah, so we got the position after knight c6, I think or after castles, yeah? For
Castle. So we got to about here.
Yeah. So typically Black would play the move bishop d6 now and get castled, yeah?
Yeah.
And Theo would play a6 instead, which forces the issue.
Takes.
And takes. Queen c2. That's a good move because Black's got some slight problems with the c6 pawn, yeah? And Black takes on d4.
Yeah.
Queen b6.
Queen b6 defending.
Knight c3. Yeah, now White's threatening knight a4.
Which will pick up the c pawn.
Yeah, and if Black goes cd, White could still consider playing knight a4 first.
Okay.
So this is slightly problematic for Black.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if the queen
You'd have to stay defending that pawn, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Yeah, and White. Yeah, this feels quite nice for White. So I'm not sure. Maybe a6 isn't. I don't know. Maybe a6 is. There's not enough time for a6. We'll see. Let's see what actually happened in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
Queen b6. Knight c3, c4. Okay, that stops that. But then I like the White's next move, b3. Just opening it up. So if we can open up the c file, that pawn on c6 is weak.
Yeah, and Black's still got to develop the.
Yeah.
Takes.
Bishop d6 and then bishop a3 as a logical move, just swapping off one of Black's bishops, the better one.
Oh, how is he saying there's a nice tactic in Max's game? We'll come to that in a minute.
Okay.
But yes, we're looking at Theo's game.
Queen c7. Swap and then knight a4. Okay, and White's got quite good dark square play, yeah?
Yeah. Because I suppose Theo would want to try and get c5, but it's not ever going to.
The c5 is never going to happen, no. So yeah, I mean, he's got to try and just get counterplay against White's. Yeah, this feels good for White actually. We'll see. Rook b8, knight e5. And now knight takes c6 is a big threat, isn't it? So Black's probably got to bishop d7. Perhaps.
This could turn into one of those games that you don't enjoy playing, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Because White's got all this pressure along the c-line.
I think bishop d7's probably got to happen, and
right.
And Black's got to kind of just hang in there, yeah.
Yeah, hanging in there battle.
Yeah.
Okay. And shall we hop to Max's game?
Yes, why not? Let's have a look.
Let's hop to Max's game.
That's against Pete Wells, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, let's see it.
4-12.
4-12. All right.
Ooh. Wow, the attack has happened, isn't it?
Yes, because the people were asking about knight g5s earlier in the game.
So not much. Actually, there's only been a few moves since we last saw it.
Yes,
we last saw it after 10a4 was our last move.
Yes.
And Peter, we were considering bishop b4 here, but Peter played a6.
Because I said a6 wasn't possible.
No, yeah, I guess this. First of all, sometimes actually, I don't think this is necessarily an occasion, but sometimes Black can do this and actually sack the exchange.
Okay.
So, for example, AB, CB, knight takes b5. A takes b5, rook takes a8, and there's a few openings where this can happen, and basically you give up the exchange, but then you get quite a lot of counterplay. For example, bishop b7 or bishop b4, which I'm not quite sure which one first, but bishop b4 is coming soon. Yeah. Rook back somewhere, rook a1, bishop b4. And if knight d2, queen e5, queen d4.
Queen d4. Oh, yeah.
You can see this isn't that comfortable for white, is it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So probably king e2, but that's not that comfortable either. Instead, sorry, not in this position. I meant instead of knight back to d2, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's, yeah, that a6 sometimes it happens in more than one line, actually, where you can actually, so-called defend your pawn with a6.
Okay, so he's done it, and that must be what he's aiming for.
Yeah, and but Max didn't do it. He went bishop e2. So now, and the idea of a6 is that maybe, I mean, if bishop b4 obviously stop white taking, but maybe black wants his bishop on the king side defending those dark squares. So maybe, but that's maybe why Peter wanted to avoid putting the bishop on b4. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
If he can defend his pawns in another way with a6, and then the bishop can go to e7 or even maybe g7. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he took on g3 now. Pawn takes. Bishop b7. So now white's no longer threatening any of the sacks. Oh no, sort of not any taking on b5 rather.
No, because that rook's now defended. So
yeah, knight e4.
Knight e4.
And now he did go so. But knight the g5. I was wondering why black had to take on g3 so quickly, but because now obviously knight takes g5 is a possibility. Yeah.
Yes. So you could defend it what with I was looking at. If you go, sorry, I was looking at bishop g7, but of course that's no good because then knight
d6 check, yeah.
6 check is just
and you've got to stop. You've got to stop. I mean, typically black would play knight d7 here, covering f6. Yeah. But that does actually allow white to go knight to take on g5. Tactic. Yeah.
So I like that one.
Yeah. I mean, would you even call it a tactic? It's just about a tactic, isn't it?
Yeah. So okay, so
bishop b4.
Completed bishop b4.
Yeah. King f1.
F1.
Bishop back to e7. Oh wow, that's a knight. Now it is definitely a tactic, isn't it? Because if bishop takes g5, then knight d6 check.
Ooh, yes. Oh dear.
I don't think that would have been part of Peter's plan.
It can't be part of Peter's plan. No.
Knight takes g5 because now things are looking.
So what do you? So takes. So if bishop just if bishop takes.
Then knight d6 check.
Knight d6 check, and this bishop on b7.
And then the knight just comes back to d6 afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's just clear advantage to white. The king is safe on completely safe on f1.
What is it? It's a pawn.
Well, but white sacrificed a pawn earlier, so actually you're just winning your pawn back. They'll both have 7 pawns at the end.
Right.
But white's position is just so much better than black's, yeah?
Yeah.
Black's king is weak. White's pawn structure is stronger. White's development is a bit better. White can play f4 to chase the bishop. White's sort of gaining tempi. After knight takes b7, the queen has to move, and then the knight comes back to d6. And then back to e4, basically.
Yeah.
So that looks. I mean, it just looks very promising for white, this position. But it's possible unless we miss something.
No, I think this has happened. Knight f takes g5.
No, unless we miss something actually.
Something
has
now.
This happened, or do you need to?
Yeah, no, it's happened, and Peter did have a long think on bishop g5.
16 minutes, yeah. Which implies
says to me that he probably wasn't wanting this.
No, I think I think I've got a feeling he just completely overlooked knight takes g5.
Yeah. Okay.
Right,
but it's not material. It's just this.
No. White's got a very good position, but there's still a lot to go. I mean, lots of things. Lot can happen from here.
Lots of chess still to play.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so let's
Okay, let's go back to Patrick Duncan. against Matthew Wadsworth.
Okay, this is looking just at this position looks very promising for black.
Looks good for black, yeah, doesn't it? Because
he's won a pawn. His king is safer. His piece
that white
is more
rook's still
active.
a little bit stuck in the corner.
Yeah, this just looks really good for black, doesn't it?
Yeah.
This was the was this the
this was the 1b3.
1b3, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Fine.
Should we have a look at the
next one? Okay. And Peter Roberson against David Ireland.
I was trying to remember what this.
I was trying to remember what this was.
I know what this was. This was the Petrov, wasn't it?
The Petrov, yes.
And we were wondering whether white would play bishop e3.
Was it? Oh no, go on.
And he did actually. We looked at it after 8 bishop f5. I think was the move we just stopped. We stopped at last time.
So that's where we got.
And he did actually play this move bishop b5, which we were thinking of. You know, if black takes the bishop with the knight, then knight takes b5.
Yes, we were thinking.
So he does solve the problem about where to put the bishop, and I think black just went bishop e7 anyway. So we quickly flicked through bishop e3 anyway. So yeah, white's going to castle queen. So what? Yeah, so we did have opposite colours castling.
Excellent.
h4, bishop f6
takes for the pawn structure,
and then bishop d4 to oppose those bishops. So this feels a bit better for white, yeah?
I think so, because of the pawn structure.
Yeah, I mean, okay, you can see the queens are going to come off soon, and then white's going to have an advantage because of those pawns. Yeah, but black's going to be at least black's going to be fairly active, yeah.
Yeah.
But in fact, that is just a pawn, isn't it?
That is a pawn.
And the knight on c3 sort of dominates the knight on d4. Okay, that's probably black's best chance, isn't it? Just swap the knights off and try and have chances in the rook ending.
Yeah. So I guess we take that as white. And...
yeah. I mean, king d2, rook d8 is a bit annoying, isn't it?
Hmm.
Although even there, that actually may be possible. King d2, rook d8, rook a8, rook d5. Because that knight on e2 is not great pieces. If black exchanges on d5, that's probably just winning for white, yeah. But he can go knight takes c3, yeah.
Knight c3, yeah.
And then rook d8.
Yeah.
So if black knight e4 check,
yeah.
king e3. Maybe black's actually gonna have rook d2 at the end, yeah.
Yeah, so I take that one. Rook's here.
Yeah, rook d2 is actually
interesting.
That's actually fine for black, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, black's fine here. Okay, so probably we should just have to take on e2 with our.
Yeah, which he's done now actually, and then rook e2.
Yeah, and now we either rook f1 to defend our pawn, or rook c7.
Okay, yeah. So so rook f1.
Rook f1, yeah, and then we're not worried.
Rook d8. We're not.
No, we're not worried because our rook on c7 defends the. So rook, we can probably go rook c. We'll just go rook c7.
Yeah, and then we can't even double on the 7th, can we?
No, black has to make a move like
we have to make a little space.
Yeah, and then to be honest with you, I've got a feeling that rook d1 will just be a winning rook ending. Careful, white. Rook d1.
D1 here.
Yeah, our pawn's going to be so much quicker than theirs.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the only move for white, but it's. Or alternatively, rook takes a7, rook d2, and then rook back to c7. That's really sort of
rubbing it in a bit.
Yeah. It is, because obviously black's really got nothing better than to go.
Because then we just do that.
Black's got nothing better than to take on f2, but again, we're way ahead in the race.
Mm.
Yeah, so this is looking good for white, isn't it?
Surprisingly, actually, it's surprising how good it's looking, isn't it? Because it was looking sort of equalish. It was looking nice when we saw the position.
Yeah, I think once white wins that pawn, then it's not just the winning the pawn, also the c pawn's really weak.
Yeah.
After rook f1, probably I suspect maybe black just has to. The best chance for black is maybe defend the c pawn.
I just dropped the rook. Go this rook.
Rook c8 maybe.
Yeah, try and bring the king out, and
but then white can now go king d1. That's the problem.
yeah.
It's looking grim for black. It's not. You've got a pawn and a worse position. Yeah, pawn down and a worse position. So okay.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I forgot to do a shout out to Peter Hepworth, who is. No, hang on, wait a minute. I thought I saw. I could be getting the wrong person. There's Hepworth, isn't it? Isn't one of our Guitar Man is Hepworth, but I don't know if it's the same player.
Okay.
One of our regular stream viewers, but I could get it wrong. So I should do some research before next time. Okay, now where did we get to on this one against Jonah Willow?
I think we just got to the kind of like around about move 10. It's like a symmetrical sort of, and white. Yeah, okay. So this like Collies of Couture, yeah.
Yes.
And so what white typically does in this position is play knight e5 plan or c4, but it's unusual for white to mix the plans.
Right.
So on move 9.
Yeah, 9 we had c4.
Yeah, so instead of c4, white would, I would be tempted just to go knight e5 basically.
Yeah.
And then if they go knight d7, just go f4, and play sort of kingside action. But he's gone for both plans. Let's see how that works.
Okay, knight c6.
Knight e5.
Knight e5 takes.
d4. Yeah, and see the problem is that because you've opened the center up, it's more difficult to do anything on the king side because you're distracted by events in the center. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not really a kingside attack right now, is there?
No, it's So this feels more comfortable for black, and now we're going to have probably get these hanging pawns, are we?
Yes. F1 now.
Okay.
This takes.
Rook e8. Okay, so it's still quite a bit of tension in the position.
Yeah, so I guess white would want to get f5 in.
Yeah, white would like to get f5 in, and that would mean then that the d pawn is a passed pawn. There's obviously clearly some risk by playing f5 though as well, because it opens up white's king. Although once you've actually gone once you sort of say A, you should once you've played f4, then f5 is like, your king's already a bit weaker already, isn't it, after f4? So f5 is natural. Notice that Jonah Willow, as soon as white went f4, but even a bit earlier, he put his rook on e8.
Yeah.
So that discourages f5 because that will open up the e file. So it's quite a clever prophylactic move. So but still, I think the game might get quite exciting very soon.
Yeah. Now this one, James Jackson,
I've forgotten which opening this was actually.
This was e4, e5.
Oh, it's just a normal.
Was this the one where all the grandmasters are playing it these days?
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Have a quick look to see how that. So we stopped it after bishop c2. Yeah.
So this is where
and
we got
indeed, black did go for the counterplay of taking, then going knight b4.
Knight b4. Yes, we were talking about this, weren't we? And knight c3.
So yes. So what white's done, he's just allowed black to win the bishop pair, but he's maintained the center. And now swapping. Yeah, I think we've seen this scene a few times, haven't we? Whoever has the whoever's fighting against the bishop pair, they want just trying to swap off one of the bishops.
Yeah.
Very logical. And now black's opening up so he can get some play with his bishop against e4. So it's all pretty natural and logical so far.
Yeah. Now I thought white might actually exchange bishops, so there isn't a bishop pair problem anymore.
I think once we got to this, interesting. We mean instead of going bishop d4, yeah.
Yeah.
I think once we get to this stage, often when these bishops are like opposing each other, it's clearly, obviously, white could exchange, but black's got nothing better in the long term to exchange now. I think, as in if the bishop retreats to c7, white's bishop's such a strong piece on d4.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
just a case of it's going to happen, and both players are sort of engineering the best
The
time
best
for it to
version
happen.
of it.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
example, maybe White's waiting for Black to move the queen to c7 before taking on b6.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although, of course, if queen c7 is obviously bishop takes f6 becomes possible as well. So, White sort of, maybe Black, for example, rook c8 happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Again,
good.
Black's sort of waiting for White to take on b6, but obviously White could go rook d1, although there might be, he moves his queens because maybe some knight takes e4 now is possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he wants
So
to get off that line.
Yeah, so queen d3 makes a lot of sense.
D3, knight d7.
Yeah, again, now the queen's moved to d3, knight d7 makes a lot of sense because knight e5 or knight c5.
So rook d1,
b1.
knight e5 was played.
Yeah, queen e2. Again, Black would be very happy if White went knight takes e5 and then he could straighten out his pawns.
Yeah.
So he wants to keep that small advantage of the e pawn versus the d pawn.
Now the bishops do come off.
Yeah, but then queen b6. I think Black's played this quite well. Because in these sort of situations, when you sort of look at it initially, you sort of think the d6 pawn's very weak, but sometimes the e4 pawn, although it doesn't look so weak, it can just be just as vulnerable as the d6 pawn.
Yeah, and he's also looking at the b2 pawn.
Exactly. So after rook takes d6, queen takes b2. Yeah, I don't see why that just looks okay for Black. Absolutely, yeah. The bishop's a nice piece on c6, isn't it?
Mm.
So I suspect rook d2 maybe. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
And then Black could consider rook e6 with both defense and attack. I dare rook ce8.
So it's perfectly fine for Black.
It does. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, knight d5 is just going to be met by you can just swap. Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably, to be honest, that's probably what White should do. Maybe knight d5 is the best move there. Yeah. Oh no, but if I haven't said that, if you take the rook, b2 hangs. Okay, White can't do that then. Knight d5 is not a good move.
No.
It's not clear. Oh, I think Black's fine there, actually.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. Okay. Will we see an upset? James' favourite for this game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Next one was the Daniel Wells game, wasn't it?
Daniel Wells against Borna Derek Shani.
This was the Caro-Kann advance, wasn't it?
Yes.
That looks quite a complex game.
Okay, we looked at b5, didn't we?
We did. Since then
and
Black.
Then we were talking c5 as a possible idea for Black.
Yeah, we weren't sure which one Black would do.
Yeah, and Borna castled.
Yeah, and then a4 happened. So thinking about it now, I'm I was sort of saying this a3 b4 plan looked a bit unusual, but in fact, I can see its merits now.
Well, it's got to be a4 and b5 now.
Stopping the knight going to c6 is quite nice. It's quite, the knight on c6, if Black gets c5 and knight c6 in it, puts a lot of pressure on the centre.
Yeah. Hi, poker run. Yeah.
Okay, so bishop b2. Now, wow. Yeah, okay. Well, it's going for sort of action on both sides.
Yeah. He trying for his
I mean, if that knight can get to e4, then knight d6 is happening. Yeah. White's actually got a lot of space here, and I think actually I quite like Black's next move because if you just swap bishops, queen takes, and then it's very easy for White to play that position.
Right.
But bishop g6 obviously stops knight e4. I mean, White could go bishop f3. Oh, he's gone for the exchange. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight b6. So. Okay, that's interesting. I like knight b6 because that forces White to move the knight away from the d6 square.
Yeah. Okay, and so now.
So yeah, basically, White has got some nice, quite interesting attacking possibilities, though. Yeah, for example, bishop takes d6, g6, and if take the knight, then queen h5.
Yeah, I'm wondering if black does just swap.
Yeah, black. I think black should swap rooks here. Yeah, I mean, to at least to force white to. Oh wait, what's going on here?
Yes, take back with the bishop.
No, but then queen takes d4. Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute. So let's just check. So we're here, and I think this is the live position.
I mean, knight e3 was by no means forced, was it?
No.
So he's got knight e3. So black can take on c1.
I think taking on c1 looks good, doesn't it? So takes. Does it just win a pawn there? So takes some.
Queen takes d4. So is there some trick? Are we going to have some? Are we going to have some? Oh, bishop takes g6 is just a good move. Sorry, yeah, bishop g6 is strong.
Bishop g6, and if take on d1, we've got take on h7 as an intermezzo.
Wins material, yeah. Okay, so that's okay. So bishop c1. Sorry, no panic.
Okay, so knight e3. Bishop rook c1 has been played.
Yeah, so bishop c1's forced.
C1, but it's not a queen d4. You can't play it really.
Queen d4 loses now. Yeah. So how's black? So he's probably going to. He wants to just start swapping pieces because maybe knight b d5 or something. Yeah. Just needs to start swapping pieces. And then in the long term, his queenside pawn majority might just be very strong.
Yeah.
He's got to somehow neutralize white's attack. So bishop takes g6 would be a move.
You just want to queen the a pawn, don't you?
Yeah, why not? Yeah. So obviously, so white will go. I mean, bishop takes g6.
Yeah.
No, not with that bishop.
Nope, not with that one. That one doesn't go that way.
No. And then, of course, if knight takes g6, then queen h5 is strong, I think. Because black's forced to go h6, and then we've got knight takes e6.
Oh, yeah. Nice.
Yeah. So after knight takes g6, take the h pawn. But now queen g4? Threatening queen h4?
Yeah. Okay. So how do we stop that?
It's not an obvious way to stop that. So if knight e3, then just queen h4, yeah? Black's not quite in time. You have to go king. You have to go rook e8, yeah.
And, rook e8, but then we just get. Oh no, we don't quite get mated.
Not quite mate, but I mean, obviously, white could simply take. Actually, white instead. We won't play the check straight away. Let's just go f takes e3, opening up the rook. You got this. Must be
yeah. This is so scary.
Yeah, knight f5, queen h7, king f8, g4, and that's game over. Yeah.
Can't do it. Oh, so is this forced? So how do we get?
No, if it's forced, then black's in big trouble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, after bishop takes c1,
yeah,
it's black's turn.
Yeah.
So, basically, black's got to somehow deal. Black's got to deal. Maybe he can go h6. Maybe h6 just works.
All right. So okay. So let's say we take this thing.
Then knight takes.
Knight takes, and now we don't have the trick with.
We don't have the trick anymore, and this is much. This is obviously what black wants. Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight can come back to e4, but nothing disastrous.
Nothing major's happening, right?
Yeah. I mean, queen h5 might. I mean, white can still get play, but this is feeling a lot more comfortable for black than what we just looked at.
Yeah.
And white's got to be a bit careful. Obviously, queen h for the d4 pawn hangs in some lines. So after bishop takes c1, I think h6 is the move, which is why I was thinking a bit earlier whether white could have gone bishop takes g6 a bit. I mean, just sort of done something a bit earlier.
Ooh. Question from the chat: has Hebden overlooked?
Okay, shall we? Yeah, shall we?
We better see
Otherwise,
if he has. Yeah. Okay, so where did we get to?
It's certainly things have hotted up, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Has Mark got actually over an hour left?
Yeah.
Compared to the 8 minutes, yeah.
Yeah. So he's got this nice pawn in on g6, but what has he overlooked is his knight. So okay. So
should we backtrack a few moves?
Yes, let's backtrack.
Maybe not all the way, but maybe just well, actually, maybe yeah. Why not? Let's look at it from let's look at it from where he went where he started the kingside attack, yeah, with that g5 and then yeah.
Yeah, okay. So G5 here.
So if we just breeze through this
F6.
bit. Yeah.
F5. Okay, yeah. We were talking about this with the knight.
Yeah. H5. So this is looking promising for white, yeah?
Yeah, and now G6.
Yeah, because I guess if Rook, he didn't want to allow black to play G6, so
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's always nice having that G6 pawn there as well.
Of course, but on the other hand, it does allow black just to keep the pawn for a bit with H4, yeah?
Yeah,
So
H4
it does actually sort of raise the stakes of the game a little bit.
Yeah. Takes. Oh.
E4.
Knight A4.
Yeah, that was definitely a good move by black, because that's sort of forcing the knight to go to the edge of the board now, where things are happening on the king side.
Why wouldn't Hebs go into E4?
Yeah, then FE5, then EF5 hits the knight, and the knight has to move again. Yeah.
Yeah. So takes. So now it's 2 pawns now.
No, just one, because that's a swap on F5.
That one's a swap. Takes.
Knight F8. Yeah, so that pressure on G6 is yeah, that's a good defense for black, isn't it?
What if Hebs now recaptures?
He can do, but he obviously wants to get both rooks on the H file, but that fails, so knight takes G6.
Yeah.
So rook takes H4 certainly was possible, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But there'll be a danger of the rook takes H4 of black going rook B8 and completely sidelining the knight on A4.
Yeah.
And you could argue, and then also rook D6 and G6 drops. So
rook H4, knight rook here,
or even rook D6 actually. Maybe rook D6 might be better. Just going after that pawn.
Yeah, and you can't defend it.
Yeah, I mean clearly white can take on F5, but the position is just a complete mess now. It's yeah. Okay, so knight B6 happened. So at least white can take on C4 and get the knight back in the game, yeah?
Yeah. So rook AB8, knight C4. Okay.
Yeah. Rook takes D4 though, so black remains a pawn ahead. Knight E5. At least though the knight now protects G6. Rook E8. But there's no reason. I mean, I don't actually see why black's worse here. And is it even possible black's just better now?
Yeah. So I was looking for Hebs maybe takes on F5.
It's probably what's good. Yeah, maybe just takes on F5. I think he's yeah. So what happens now? So can black play rook D5?
Rook D5.
Yeah. And if F4, then knight takes G6.
That's unfortunate.
Which is just basically better for black, yeah?
Yeah.
So maybe has white got another move apart from F4 in that position after rook takes F5?
It takes here.
Is there any tricks here? Because there is the sort of, it's close to being checked. There's sort of,
it feels like there could be tricks, yeah.
Yeah, so for example, knight C6 doesn't work.
So knight C6.
No, it just takes rook. Yeah, there's no knight E7 check, so that doesn't work.
No.
Yeah. If the rook was already on H4, we could go knight F7, and then rook takes rook H8 mate, but that's not happening.
Oh, that's all right.
It's just one move behind, yeah.
So wait. So takes.
Yeah, then black just goes rook D takes E5.
Rook D takes, because if rook E takes, you've got
rook H8. That would be nice. Yeah,
it would work.
50-50, yeah.
He's gonna see it. Rook here, and you don't have the same.
You don't have anything. Yeah, you just resign basically.
Oh dear. All right. So
in this position, there's rookie one looks.
You sort of feel like he's got a trick up his sleeve, don't you? So what you're saying, if here,
just rook takes rook.
Rook takes rook here, you're just not.
Well, knight G6 or rook.
Knight G6. It's just
rook takes F7 if you really had to. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not working.
No.
What's going? So rook e1 looks terrible, doesn't it? It just does. It just doesn't look like it's going to work. Yeah,
Rook
knight takes g6.
e1,
That's
knight
game over.
takes g6.
You're going to lose both rooks, aren't you? One would check and then.
So maybe the answer is yes. Houghton has overlooked
So
something.
okay, so rook f5, rook takes f5 probably doesn't work. So
Oh yeah, you don't have to do that. Actually, he's done
Knight c6, yeah.
knight c6.
I think basically what he's got to. I mean, basically he's still got that pawn on g6. He's only a pawn down, and there are definitely still swindling chances here. I mean, I don't even know objectively what the position's like, but it feels like it should be good for black. But it's also still a sort of position that's not easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, black could go rook d6 here, forking the knight and the pawn.
He might well do that. So rook
then
d6.
Yeah, white could go knight takes b4 at least, though. Yeah.
Takes.
And then.
And if rook takes.
Yeah, then rook takes f5.
Then you take here. Okay.
Yeah, and then suddenly this position looks perfectly fine for white again.
Yeah.
I'm not even necessarily drawn. I mean, the h4 pawn's weak. It's game on, isn't it? Basically, yeah. So it feels like maybe black's got better than rook d6.
Is rook c4 it? That's what he played.
Yeah, that's better, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So rook c4.
And where's the knight going now?
Where is the knight going? That's the question. A5.
A5's not really where you want to go, is it? I mean, I'm wondering. Sorry, rook c8. Rook c1 just loses. So rook takes rook followed by rook c8. Hasn't he got to go to a5?
I think a5 is where he's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's say. So
okay.
Then.
Yeah, but at least it can come back to b3 now. So it's kind of say. So maybe now rook f4.
F4, yeah.
Yeah.
And so it threatens rook f3.
Oh, of course, white can then take on h4, but it's also obviously rook e6 and take on g6 is.
Yeah. Okay. So rook e6 straight away. Let's say.
It's white's
I
turn.
don't know if it's not.
Yeah. I think, to be honest, isn't white's going to have to just in this position. White's probably just going to have to move the knight again. The knight, that's a terrible piece. He just needs to get back in the game. Yeah. Again.
Yeah. So actually, these two moves have happened.
Maybe knight back to c6 is the best option. Of course, black can go rook c4 here if black wants to repeat, but surely objectively, of course, he doesn't. Apart from the fact, of course, he's done that. I mean, obviously, rook f3, knight d4, knight takes f5, and suddenly game on, yeah?
Yeah.
Rook g3. Rook g3 might be quite a good move there, though, yeah? Yeah.
Rook g3. Okay. Rook f5. You're just taking on g6.
Yeah, and then black's clearly better. Yeah. So actually, rook g3 is a very clever move. It kind of it really stops white's play.
Yeah.
So maybe black does take on f3 if knight goes to c6.
Yeah.
So there's no trick. I mean, I was just looking for tricks. Yeah. I mean, rook f3, black can go after rook f3. Rook h4 perhaps. Yeah. But the problem is now is that white's king is weak. Yeah. Rook f2.
Yeah. So you could put what, just one.
Or just rook f2 or rook e2.
Rook e2, say.
Obviously, that knight e7 is mate when it comes, isn't it? Yeah. But black's threatening mate, yeah?
Black is threatening rook f1, mate. So okay,
white, no, then b3 by black is going to make things even worse. So probably white has to play the move rook, not yet, rook h1, because if rook g1, then knight takes g6.
Yep.
So rook h1. This is quite a funny position, isn't it? Because
we could double up.
You could double rooks there. After which, really, black's got the draw at least, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, King A1.
King A1.
Yeah. Prophylaxis.
Wait. So what if you...
And then knight E7.
There's a mate coming in. Oh, terrible.
So White's really battling here. Yeah, this is a sort of...
All right, not that then. What about rook here? Rook E6.
Sport. Knight takes B4, and the game continues.
Knight takes B4.
Yeah, nothing. Yeah, and the game continues. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure,
Yeah.
of course, black is better. Yeah, but
Yeah.
okay. Well, we can basically. So it's actually black's turn in the position. Yeah.
Yeah.
And knight C6 has actually happened. So we're actually, this is the position. Yeah.
Yes.
And black's thinking about, obviously. So did rook C4 happen? Yeah. And he went earlier on. Did rook C4 happen? And
yeah, I think all of this happened.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, black's thinking about either to repeat with rook C4.
Yeah.
Or to go rook takes F5, which is the uncompromising move, isn't it? That's the move. That's the move black wants to play. Rook takes F3. Meeting knight D4 with rook G3.
So here.
Yeah.
Here.
Yeah.
And
that's just good for black. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think. So white, we were looking at rook takes H4, but then black gets the second rank.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So
wow. We'll keep an eye on that game.
We'll keep an eye. Oh, so they've played another move. Rook E6.
Oh, okay. Rook E6. Okay. So, okay, that, to be honest with you, that looks like a good move too, yeah? Although knight, I'm just wondering, knight D8 perhaps.
Which one? Knight D8.
Knight D8.
You're still going for this mate on H8, aren't you?
Rook C1. Rook C1. Okay. Yeah, that's a good move, rook C. I think, okay, that had to happen. But now
take on G6
we
now.
can take on G6 now, yeah.
With the knight.
Yeah. Or, yeah. Oh, no. If take on G6 with the knight, he can go rook takes G6 and knight E7 check, but that's going to be just winning for black, yeah?
Yeah.
So knight G6 makes sense. What will white do? Knight D4, maybe, yeah? Or knight D8. Knight D4, yeah, that's interesting, because now... Oh, not knight D4, because rook D4, sorry, yeah. Knight D8.
Knight D8.
Yeah, and then rook... He's trying some swindling, isn't he? And then rook C8 possibilities.
Yeah, okay. So rook here.
Then rook C8. And suddenly there are some issues for black. Knight B7.
Knight back.
That looks like a cool defensive move. Yeah, that's good. I think maybe that's the only good move, but I think it is a good move.
Yeah. Lots of pawns, yeah.
Crucially, that rook on G5 can't enter the attack, yeah?
Mm.
Oh, can white go a rook C7, just rook D7? White's best now is probably to exchange rooks and go knight E6, but that's actually... That keeps the game going, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, black's getting a bit lower time.
Happened. Oh, rook C1, yes. Black's very short on time. So black will get 30 seconds until the end of the game, each move. But no.
Oh my gosh, there's no time control, is there? He's not.
No, there's no, like, it's not like wow. 40 helps or anything like that.
Okay, this is really okay. This is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is going to be tough then, isn't it?
It's going to be hard work for Jacob.
Yeah, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah.
So okay, the clock times have changed considerably, actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, John, should we take a very short break?
Yes. We should.
Let's do that. Okay. So I'm going to just leave it on. Let's pick a game and leave it on there. And
we'll or we have got the live stream, haven't we?
We've got the live stream. Okay. We'll put the live stream on, and I will still be watching it in the meantime. So. Okay, is that the live stream? There we go.
Okay,
that's actually interesting because we can see Heb's See this
Yeah.
game. See this game live. Okay, we'll be back in just a very few minutes. Okay, I'll hide us on the stream. Hi there. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. Right, we can see from the live stream, it looks like Hebs's game is over. Let's have a look at the position. And can you see that, John?
I can, yes.
Yes. So hopefully, drama in the break. Okay, so what's happened in the break? Let me just get onto here. So we left it. There was all this kind of knight f8 stuff that we were expecting. Rook c8, so knight d8.
We left it after rook c1, didn't we, on move 36?
Rook c1 here, knight g6, knight
d8 happened.
Rook f6, rook c8, knight f8, knight c6, rook f7, knight e5.
And okay, and they agreed to draw here, did they?
And they agreed to draw, yeah.
Right,
yeah.
so this is okay. So actually, sorry, could we go back to a couple of moves? Yeah, knight f8. So he played knight c6.
Yeah. So rook f7.
Why does black have to play rook f7?
I don't know that it has to. It might be just he.
Because clearly then white just repeated and so I mean, what's white threatening now? What's the actual threat for white?
B22 C3 Sicilian, who we know. It says that the machine.
I mean, rook takes f3. Rook takes f3. I just want to know what white's threat is after knight c6. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's nothing much. So, okay.
We're ready to go rook g3 next, aren't we? And then that's basically game over. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, -7 or something. Rook takes f3 is just strong.
Oh, is it?
Okay. So what here? King can come out.
King can come out, and then knight d5. Yeah.
Knight d5. And what, rook somewhere?
I mean, rook g3 might just be a good move.
Yeah. So just rook g3.
Yeah, rook takes g3. Oh, actually, no, he's got rook c7 check. Actually, rook c7 check is actually a possibility there.
Yeah, I think he's given Hebs a draw because he's a grandmaster.
Draw by reputation.
Draw by reputation. That's it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So
well.
that was an escape for Mark, wasn't it? Yeah.
An escape for Mark. Still like a nice result for Jacobs. I mean.
Yes, but it's
a very good result.
But of course, yeah. From Mark's point of view,
Mark will breathe a sigh of relief from that position.
Yeah, because actually, it's sort of like a draw is much less damaging than a loss. In a 7-round event, basically, he can soon sort of, with a draw in the first round, he can, with a couple of wins, he's suddenly right back in contention, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we see Marcus Harvey? So this one.
Yeah, this is the game we finished it sort of after.
We were on our second time through, and we'd.
Yeah, Black just played the move 17e5.
Right.
With the idea of bringing the knight to e6. So it'd be interesting to see how white combated that.
When this knight coming around to f4, which we quite.
Yeah.
Like.
So what happened here is that basically white didn't put the knight to d5. He basically put the knight to e2, which stopped black from going knight d4.
Yeah.
That's a more solid way of playing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's possible that white's just still slightly better in this position. You can just double rooks on the d file.
I'm just seeing the chat is talking about Peter Wells against Max Pert. So we'll do this.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay.
And
right.
We'll have a check in on that game because there was a tactic there, wasn't there? That.
Oh, I like what Black's managed to do there. We're getting b5 in.
Yeah, b5.
Yeah. Feels like he needed to imbalance the position, and this should This feels a bit better for black than previously. Yeah, this looks.
Yeah, I like those all those pawns in the middle.
Yeah, I think black's way over the worst now.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
There it is. Okay, we're going to check.
Looks rough equal. Yeah, let's look at Max's game against Peter.
Oh, there's an interesting position. We'll see in a minute. Peter Robertson. Here it is. Okay. Ooh, gosh.
What's going on here? Isn't
everything?
Isn't wow? Isn't okay? White's
we left it at there was a knight g5 here, wasn't it?
Yeah. So let's see how the game progressed from there.
Yeah. So takes and then this knight d6 check, which was the tactic. PK forgot his theory. Poor PK. It's hard to remember your theory. A very old game by Topalov second.
Oh, who's? Oh, I see. Who is that? Topalov second. That's name's on the tip of my tongue. Cheparinov.
Cheparinov
is one of his. Yeah. Oh, so can we just backtrack a little bit? I just want to see what happened there after knight takes b7.
Yeah.
Okay, so the queen moved. Sorry, knight takes b7. Good. Queen f8.
Yeah.
A b. CB. So white's just got a big advantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, after knight d6, bishop f3 is happening. It's just horrible.
Didn't Luke beat Cheparinov in some kind of closed Sicilian thing? I think I was there. It was a very nice game.
Probably given
a lot of years ago.
Yeah, probably given that Cheparinov's such as a second and used to deal with very theoretical lines. The close Sicilian was probably a good line to play against him.
Yeah. Knight c6.
Bishop f3. Knight b4. Okay, just having to give up the exchange, yeah?
Yes.
And then queen comes in. Black doesn't have enough counterplay to swap queens, I guess.
That's very mature of Luke. Max swapping queens. And
yeah, it's a good move, isn't it? Because he simply can't. Black can't do it. But knight. So basically, knight e4. It just feels obviously just this is completely winning for white, I guess. Yeah, threatening knight c5 check. But so knight e3 is this a good try by Peter? Yeah.
Knight e3, yeah, because we're going to get a pin.
Fe3. Oh, wait a minute, though. He can take
Rook f8, right?
Rook f8, knight f6 check is just winning for white.
Yeah,
but queen e4 is going to happen here, yeah?
Okay, so let's see. So I think I can move pieces. Queen e4.
Yeah. Queen e4. So basically, Rook f8 now is a threat.
Yes.
So what's going on here, actually?
What's Max doing here now?
Is there some counterplay coming
K6, maybe?
Sorry,
Rook a6 on a7.
Ah, but that...
But does that work?
Well, you still...
It's still Rook f8, right?
Still Rook f8, Rook a7, King d8, and...
Wait a minute.
Oh, no. But then, oh yeah, the queen covers a8, doesn't it? That's still counterplay, isn't it?
So here, there.
King d8.
King d8, and we can't play Rook a8 check. Oh. So I don't even know how this is. So Rook takes...
Yeah, but then Rook takes Queen followed by Queen at Queen b1 check for skewering the...
Then I do know. Okay. So wait. So where are we really?
Where are we at? How are we live? What's the live position?
That's a good... I've switched systems, obviously, in the meantime. So now I have to make sure I know what's live and what's not. So if I click on this again, that should be...
Is there a refresh button?
This is live.
What, after King d8?
No. The one on this side of my screen that you can't see.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I know. I can see it. You mean basically white went King g1 instead, yeah?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
King g1.
Okay, Rook f8, Queen g7. Okay, yeah. Is that a calm way to... The king's going to be pretty safe on h2, yeah? Is it?
Peter wishes there was a reset button. Oh, poor old Peter.
Well, I mean, basically, even though white, I mean, this feels like for the first time the black's actually got some counterplay. So Queen E3, isn't that the only try for black? Queen E3 check.
Yeah, John, can you just check I have got the right live position? Just
how would I do that? I see. Just by looking
just on
at
chess
I'll
24.
look at chess 24. Yeah.
Yeah. I think this should be right, but I just don't want to keep going if it's not.
Yes, white's just gone Queen G7.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, position is live. Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. Okay, so basically, should we play? I mean, Queen takes E3. I mean, surely isn't that the only move?
Queen takes E3.
King H2. And then Rook F5, threatening mate.
Yeah. Yeah. Of course, yeah, Tom's guessing Peter will be okay from here. Yes. Because even if you move your rook or whatever, it's still rook h5.
Yeah, so white either has to go maybe queen. It's a bit queen g6, rook g5. Yeah.
Queen g6, rook g5, queen h6. Can you?
Yeah, then queen takes
no,
g3.
Queen takes g3.
Yeah. So maybe g4 for white here.
Yeah. Okay. Let's try it.
But obviously that opens up possibilities of checks on the
Queen f4 and stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It suddenly feels like black's got
what about queen f4 straight away, right?
Queen f4, king h3.
Oh,
then rook h5. Rook h5. Oh my gosh! This is the first tactic for black in the game.
It's a good one.
It's a good one. Yeah, if you want to save up a tactic, yeah. So what's going on here after queen f4? Do you have to go g3 perhaps? Yeah. G3 is better. Yeah. After queen
f4, g3. All right. Okay. Fine.
Yeah, that's much better. Yeah.
You can do it.
Yeah. Queen f2.
Queen f2. King h3.
King h3. Now, what do we do with our rook? Either rook g5 or rook f. I think
rook f3.
Rook f3 is the only.
Rook f3. Let's try that.
Yeah, but white can defend. Yeah, with
how?
Rook a3, for example. Oh no, not rook a3. Sorry, not rook a3. Sorry,
that's mating one.
That's mating one. One of the rooks to g1 then. So probably maybe rook. I think we can probably safely do rook hg1. Yeah.
Yeah. Rook hg1.
Because now rook takes a6 becomes a possibility at some stage. Yeah.
I don't know what's going on now.
The problem for black is he can't use the bishop in the attack. Yeah.
Because it's pinned. But you could just go rook f7 and then.
Yeah, rook f7.
Any relation to Nick Pert? Yes, related to Nick Pert. I mean, actually, Max Pert is the son of Richard Pert.
Yeah, so he's Nick's nephew, basically. Max. Lucky bishop h4. Yeah, bishop h4 would be a nice trick, wouldn't it, for black? If it's
not legal though.
Wow.
Mm.
So maybe black has to. I mean, basically, what about still a move like b4 with the idea, sort of. I think black's kind of run out of moves on the king side.
But he b4 and just try and queen a pawn.
Well, yeah, it feels like it shouldn't work.
Oh, because you can't play rook a6 because we just take. Well, maybe. Oh, it's complicated.
Yeah, probably can't because rook a6, queen g1, rook a7, king c6. Yeah, and black's mating first.
Yes.
White has got moves like rook f1. He could swap his two rooks for the queen. Feels like it should be winning for white.
Two rooks for the queen should be winning for white, do you think?
Should be, yeah. But again, it's not completely all over, is it? Because those queenside pawns are
Yeah. So take.
Queen, not queen h6 though, no. Rook h8, rook
h1. H6, not at all.
So it's not as straightforward, is it, for white actually? It's not completely straightforward
because
at all.
F3, I suppose then you've got a queen d3.
Yeah, you can sort of bring your queen back to g6, but this doesn't quite feel like the cleanest way for white, does it at all? But
Yeah.
maybe it might be a reasonable practical option. But if we,
I think we
this
do have another move actually. So let's go. So
yeah. Oh yeah, there has been another move.
Yeah.
Rook f5. Black went queen. White went queen g4. That's much better than going.
Here we go.
Queen
Queen g4.
Yeah.
So Max played this. Yes. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then h5 from
Peter. H5 happened. Yeah.
So how is this then? So,
well,
because Peter might be able to play his pawn to h4.
Yeah. So the queen. First of all, I'm wondering whether white can play as visions okay with rook e1, but it doesn't work because black can go queen takes e1.
Oh, which one? Sorry, John.
I was thinking about playing one of the white rooks to e1, but black can just go queen takes e1. I was trying to get a nice square for my white queen. But any rook to e1 is mapped by queen takes e1, then queen takes f5, then black takes the other rook with his queen.
Rook.
Yeah, wherever it might be. So white's got to move the queen here.
Yeah.
So it could go back to g7 now that
queen g7.
But then rook g5 wins for black, so he can't do that.
Ooh.
So he's got to go queen d1, yeah?
Queen d1.
It's the only safe square for the queen, yeah?
But
now black could consider just rook g5.
Rook g5.
Or even h4. Rook g5 I quite like. But now queen f3. Queen f3. Aha. Then suddenly everything is under control.
Okay.
White's winning that, yeah. So it can't go rook g5, but he could go, of course, either h4 or rook f2, I guess. But h4 makes sense, doesn't it?
Let's see. And then
that makes a lot of sense.
The threat is like taken on g3. So what about and if queen g4, you've still got rook g5.
Queen g4, rook g5, queen h4.
And a queen h.
But after queen g4, we can take on then g3, yeah? Queen g3, rook h5.
Oh yeah, that's curtains.
Yeah. So this is
tricky.
Very tricky.
We do have more moves though.
Yeah, go on.
So I think we have a queen on h. The queen went to h3, not to. It must be from here.
Oh, he went to h3. Okay, yeah, sorry, I missed that.
Yeah, so I think it's from here. Queen
h3, yeah, okay.
h3, so here.
No, the queen's not in the best position there, is it? However, it does take the sting out of h4, yeah?
Yeah, because then you can threaten to swap queens.
So now I don't think black can necessarily win with a direct attack on the king side, but he could. That's queen h3 is a very clever move. He could try. He could obviously start pushing his pawns. But white's going to go rook takes a6. Queen h3 is a very good move, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like Peter's gone h4.
Okay. Can white now just go g4?
How do I get it live? I've got to learn how to do this. There we are, h4. That's it on there. Yeah. And then g4. So if g4.
Oh, then queen f4 check. Ouch. No, we can't go g4, yeah. So I think actually that's the best try for P. You've realised actually that even though he's got to try and break it open on the king side, yeah?
Yeah, okay. So what can Max...
So black's threatening pawn takes pawn.
Pawn takes pawn threatened.
Yeah.
With a sort of rook h5 coming up afterwards.
Yeah, so can white just do pawn takes pawn here?
So if white goes pawn takes pawn.
Threatening to swap queens, yeah.
Peter's got less than a minute left.
Yeah.
So here, okay.
I think black's probably got to go queen f4 check, yeah?
Yeah, queen f4 check, yeah.
g3.
G3.
Oh, and then queen d2 check.
D2 check. And you can't put the queen in the way, so you have to go king there.
Yeah, but queen f2's mate.
And then you get mated, so that's not what you do.
He's got to go. So he's got to go queen g2, but then rook f2.
No, but then you can't. You can't.
Yeah, I'm just wondering.
Is this all forced?
I'm just wondering about this position. How this is just winning for black, isn't it? This position. Yeah. Okay. Wow. H4. So after H4, let's have a look. So he's gone H4. Yeah, Peter.
Yeah. So H4.
Is it on the left-hand side? Is that where it's live?
Where? Tell me where. Left.
On the left-hand.
This one here is live.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, so we can. Yeah, we can see
that.
Live, yeah.
There we are. There we are. That's live.
Yeah.
So we're thinking if white takes it, then queen f4 does win for black.
Right. So what white could do is, for example, move his rook from h1, which means that pawn takes pawn can be met by king h1.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, a bit precarious though, because then our queen's still.
Oh, I think Max has taken though.
He has. Isn't queen f4? Oh, queen f4 can be met by queen g3.
Okay. So,
Queen f4 can be met by queen g3.
Queen f4, queen g3. That's better.
That's a lot better, isn't it?
What about bishop h4?
Just queen takes queen.
Queen takes queen. Is fine.
That's yeah. Yeah, I don't see anything for. Don't see anything for black here. And does black have another move apart from queen takes f4?
I think black has played.
Oh, he has played it. Okay, yeah.
Queen f4. Yeah.
So queen g3 is queen g3 is is the best move by a long way, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And we're looking to see if.
And then we think white's still winning, maybe.
I don't really see.
Wow, there's a really nice potential tactic and only move coming up.
Oh wow!
There's b22.
We're not in the know. So queen.
Really weird only move. Thank you b22. Oh dear.
Oh wow! So queen g3, yeah, that's the only move for white, and that's not really weird. So okay. So in this position here, so where's black's even possible counterplay coming from? What are we missing? He's gonna have to move his queen, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe queen h6.
Queen h6.
That keeps things, and then the idea of rook h5 or bishop h4, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Queen h6 to start. Okay, good. We're on the right track.
I feel like we're doing puzzles here. Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, queen h6 to start. Fine. All right. And so then. All right. So white do king h3. King h3, then you get rook h5.
Yeah, or even bishop h4, yeah? Followed by rook h5.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. So not that. Yeah, Peter's played queen h6. So we are at queen h6. Oh, rook takes h6. Rook takes a6. Bishop takes h4. Try rook takes a6. Bishop there. Okay, let's try it. Rook takes a6. Bishop here. Right, now is this where the really weird only move comes in? We better move the queen because otherwise it's check, right?
Well, let's think about this.
I suppose we could.
Let's actually think about it. So is this the weird position, weird move for white? Yeah, we have to try and guess without an engine.
I know what it is. I know. Queen g7, and then if the queen takes, then we go rook a7 and then the queen.
Well done, Natasha.
Do you think that's right? Yes, he says yes. He says yes. Okay, so this is the move.
Yeah, nice idea.
Is that winning?
Look out for checks. Yeah, because if white rook h5 threatens
everything else loses and that wins. Wow. I think Max might see it though.
He might do.
He won't necessarily see it in advance.
Certainly Peter has he's managed to drum up some counterplay from a completely lost position.
Yeah. Tom thinks it's holding for black.
Is this still actually? I mean, black is exchange down, but he's still quite active here, yeah? Is that what Tom's alluding to? I mean, bishop f2, for example? The d4 pawn's weak.
Yeah.
White's got to stop the mate.
Don't want to get mated.
Yeah. If g4, yeah, there's still counterplay here for black. It's not completely all over.
Yeah.
Wow. I think Peter's done incredibly well to get
Yeah. Just get that counterplay.
somehow get this counterplay, yeah. All starting with knight e3, yeah. Well, should we move on to something else or for the moment?
We'll come back.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let's look. Actually, should we just check in on the women's again?
Yeah.
Okay. Aha. Lanyao has won that game. It was looking quite good for her, wasn't it? Against May Cutby.
Yeah, I was trying to remember what it. Oh, it was that Sicilian, wasn't it? We didn't really.
Yes.
It was actually we didn't really play.
We didn't get very far, did we?
We thought she had a solid position, black, but yeah, clearly that's looking good. That's looking good. In fact, that's finished, isn't it? Yeah.
It's finished. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then Elise against Anusha.
This was the the sort of Tromposky, wasn't it?
That's right.
And this is where we thought that White probably should have avoided exchanging queens. Do you remember where we thought White would have a strong attack? Yeah. And in fact, it has sort of come to pass that Black is quite happy once the queen's exchanged.
Yeah. So what's it? Pretty level.
Sort of level. I think I slightly prefer Black, but not much.
Yeah.
Not much. Yeah.
Okay. And then
we had Nina Pert's game.
And she did that trick in the opening, and she won the pawn. And
then she consolidated. We did think that White maybe had one or two chances in the opening to go knight a4, but once she consolidated, then it was always going to be a struggle. So White was not only a pawn down, but the weak d4 pawn as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. And then
this was the
check This was interesting, wasn't it? This one. Yes, and we thought Black was going to start.
They still haven't got actually that very far here, have they?
No, I mean they've got 5 minutes each left, and they're in a
that's
definitely middle game, you'd say.
Yeah, that's the problem with these sort of blocked positions, isn't it? You can spend ages, and then before you know, you've got 5 minutes left, and you still got the whole game to play nearly.
Yeah, and actually, Allah's played G4 now.
Okay, that's going to further block it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, okay, Black. I feel like Black. If anything, Black might be.
But Black could break with
B5. I like, maybe B5, but also move the queen and H5. That's also possible.
Yeah.
But maybe B5 first, because White could go for B4 as well. If Black does stuff on the king side, then White will go B4.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. And then it looks like Aga has won that game already.
Yes, that's the one where Black won a pawn in the opening and then kept it, basically,
Yeah. Okay, very good. All right. Let's see.
So that end game is looking fairly equal, isn't it? Oh no, Black's a pawn up now.
Black's a pawn up.
Okay, Marcus Harvey's made some progress.
He's pawn too, yes.
Yeah. So this is actually promising for Black now. You can go bishop c6 to put pressure on that e4 pawn.
I can actually do arrows now. There we go.
Excellent, yeah. So bishop c6. Yeah, rook a7. White would like to exchange rooks, yeah? Would give him much better drawing chances. So maybe Black goes maybe bishop b7.
Okay.
And then sort of play it slowly, king f6, and then h5, and just sort of keep playing, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, White can play knight c1, but we'll just give a check and then sort of consolidate and start again. Yeah, Black's got some chances here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, this one. Now we left it with Richard Pert having like a positional bind, didn't we?
And that's right. Yeah, it was looking quite good for Richard, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. What about this? Matthew Wadsworth has won against Patrick Duncan. So this was the 1B3 game.
Oh, okay. Yeah. This is the one we thought that Black was. The last time we visited, we thought Black was doing well, didn't we? I can't remember which move it was.
So,
but...
yeah. Sort of positions like this.
Yeah, it's actually a bit later we saw it, wasn't it? After B4 castles, and then the knight was on C5, and then it came to D3. I think that's a key point. And then Black, I think Black went C6, or it broke up the centre and won a pawn. Yeah, this is obviously just good for Black, isn't it?
Like this. Okay.
Yeah, this move C5, next move, is a good move. After Queen C2. Feels like a good move anyway. Unless White can keep the bishop going.
Takes, rook takes. And White goes C5.
Is that a tactic there, actually? No, it's not a tactic, is it, at all? No, just winning taking a pawn for free.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just swap. And then you've got just these major pieces. Yeah, and we just said we didn't like that rook.
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the next game?
Peter Roberson has won.
Oh, yeah.
We liked the rook ending he had,
yes. And that pretty much played out as we thought.
And he's managed to convert.
Okay.
Okay, this one's still going. Peter Hepworth against
This looks quite interesting.
It does.
This was the sort of Collie Zuckertor line, yeah? Was it sort of bubbling under, or bubbling, basically?
Pert Wells has ended. We better just check in at what. We'll come back to this one.
Yeah.
Oh, a draw. Interesting.
Wow. Queen. So wait a minute. What was our after Queen H3? What was our? We thought actually Rook takes A6, didn't we? Yeah. Isn't that the crazy? Rook takes A6, Bishop takes H4, Queen G7.
Yeah.
So for Queen H3, then, do we think that Queen H3 is actually a weaker move?
My chess is saying, is it just winning for Black?
Because we didn't we think that White had an only route there with Rook takes A6, Bishop takes. I thought that was the idea.
That's what the chat claimed, and I've no cause to doubt them.
Right. So Queen H3. So what? Okay. So Bishop
Queen H3 -4. The machine says. Oh. So, but I think Peter had very little time, so maybe.
Bishop H4 is quite a nice move because we're actually threatening Bishop G3.
So Bishop H4 there.
Yeah. We're actually threatening. So, for example, Rook takes A6, Bishop G3. It's a nice little finish.
King takes.
Queen F4.
Queen H4. Queen F4, mate. Yeah. Half.
Half.
Okay, so it was White. It was Black's go, and Black could play Bishop H4. Is that?
I think he did play Bishop takes H4, and that's where the game. Oh no, sorry, no, he went Queen H3. The game finished. Yeah.
Well-timed draw offer, says B22. Yes. Okay. Fine. Wow. Well, I
what an exciting game.
Well done to Max for drawing.
Well, but to both of them actually.
Peter for getting out of a sticky situation.
Yeah. That was a really, really exciting game. That one wasn't it?
It was, wasn't it? Good game. Okay.
So is that 2 games actually where draws have been agreed, where the Grandmaster's been in big trouble?
No, because Peter wasn't in trouble here, was he?
No, you're right. Actually, sorry, you're right. Actually, sorry. Yeah, it's actually a player basically probably winning, but in time trouble. Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Okay. So here we go. Peter Hepworth against Jonah Willow. And Peter's just got 1 minute left.
Okay. So Black's a pawn up now. White's got some chances, yeah?
It's white. Oh, everything's on pre's as well.
Could
now.
Could you just backtrack about 2 or 3 moves? It'd be quite interesting to see what actually how this got about.
So we'll just do it.
Maybe up to when white. Okay, so this position here, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Black's a pawn up already by this stage. Yeah, he took that f4, but it feels like it should just be good for black. Yeah.
Yeah.
He won that f4 pawn that white pushed a few moves ago. Yeah, white never got the f5 in. But then he managed to, at least after f5, white managed to complicate it by going g4. I wonder actually whether that was overlooked.
Maybe. It's not the first move that springs to mind, is it?
So fe4, and then of course white simply recaptures on e4. It's quite clever, isn't it?
It is clever. And then what if the knight drops?
Then if the knight drops, then knight f6
knight
check.
f6, which is huge.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether bishop b7 is a move here.
That was a creative idea.
Very creative. So rook f8 happened instead. So the idea is if white takes on h5, then he went rook f1 instead. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, rook f1 looks better. Yeah. Ah, okay. So maybe black can just take on f1 here.
Take on f1. Oh, and then
but then rook f4. It's kind of still interesting.
But you haven't got enough on it, have you? Rook.
Oh no, you haven't. Sorry, my mistake.
Oh no, because rook on d8 is not on.
No, rook f4, queen f4. Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to take on f1, I suppose. And then.
Or knight f6 check was also vaguely possible, but.
Yeah. Yeah.
It feels like black should have a move here. For example, I'm wondering about g5.
G5.
Just to so that the protect the bishop and meaning the knight's no longer. For example, knight takes g5, queen g7.
Oh yeah.
Rook f4. Swap rooks and then go h6. Should be good for black, yeah?
Yeah.
h4, rook d5, perhaps. Oh, then there's a check on b8, so we can't do that. But anyway, it feels it should. h4 keeps the game going, doesn't it? Yeah. It's not completely all over, is it?
No.
Okay.
So what have they actually done?
Oh, that's why it sacked the queen. What happened there?
So this was.
Is this going to be some brilliancy? Some sort of Zuckertalk?
So we were here, right?
Yeah. So g5. So white's got the piece back. Black's going g5. So if knight takes g5, then maybe.
Knight takes g5 was what we were looking at.
No, it wasn't. We weren't looking at g. We were looking at bishop takes f1.
No, we were looking at bishop f1 first. Yeah.
Yeah. So g5. So if knight takes g5 here, maybe black can blow bishop f1, and then I guess, or bishop h2 check is a possibility, isn't it, as well? Quite sure. It's quite a very complicated position.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then take on f1. Yeah, because obviously once we've, yeah, and then take on f1. Probably why I should go king g2 instead. But in any case, black's got, yeah, it's looking good for black, isn't it? Once you stop that knight g5, knight f6 check.
Yeah.
Just give up a pawn to force the knight to go to g5.
So okay, so g5. So he
just sacked the queen.
Took here. Takes the queen. Is this going to be enough? Rook g4.
King h.
Because there's this long diagonal as well, of course.
Yeah, of course. But obviously, so king h8, e5, d5, e5. What's happening? Maybe d6. Yeah, but it feels surely not. No,
not very enough, huh?
Well, we can go. No, not rook takes f1's a threat, isn't it, for black? So we need to go rook takes
f8
first. Rook f8, d6.
D6. Okay.
Yeah. So rook f1 doesn't achieve anything, does it? King g2, and the rook's actually a tactical weakness. So I guess black is just going to go queen g7.
Queen G7. Just take it.
Yeah, we have to take. Yeah, king takes, bishop takes e5. Okay, and the game continues. Yeah.
Yeah.
The game continues. It's not.
And they're still on like hardly any time each. This is really complicated.
So white's having a think. What did black? Oh, you did go. You went queen g7 straight away. Wait a minute. What's that knight doing on f6?
This is the. Oh, so how did it get to here?
What's that knight doing on f6? Can we backtrack a little bit again?
Yeah. So I'll just go to. So this is. I'm really confused. This is the live position, I think.
Yeah. So how did our
just
knight
go backwards? How did we get here?
Oh, okay. So takes. Yeah.
Okay.
Rook here. So. Oh, so we were looking at king h8, of course, and king h8 is bad because it actually allows white an extra move, doesn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So rook queen g7 is much more solid.
So the knight there, check king. Yeah. D5.
D5. Wow, it's just this looks like pie in the sky, doesn't it? Yeah. Bishop takes f1.
Yeah. Okay, so we think black should probably emerge.
Well, I mean, white's going to have to take the queen at some stage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that was. I think black's going to win. That was quite crazy, though, wasn't it? Just at the end there.
Okay, let's see James Jackson against Indy Southcott Moyers.
And this is the one we thought that black was doing absolutely fine.
Yeah. And look, black looks active, huh?
And black still looks to be doing even more than fine now, yeah?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't this just looking really nice for black?
I think so.
F4, queen takes c3. What's going on here? Isn't black's threatening rook takes c3? Yeah, so white's got to deal with that.
Okay, so knight
d5, probably, yeah. But then black could consider playing, even just at the basic option, black could consider playing bishop. Oh, bishop takes knight. Yeah, followed by rook takes g3. And then white's got to take with the pawn, because the queen exchange just loses to b4, basically, yeah?
Yeah.
And then black could still consider going b4 and then running his a pawn.
Yeah.
And the white queen's in a terrible. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry, actually, I'm missing something.
The queen's actually stopping.
So maybe, okay. So knight d5's 95's the best try here, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Knight d5, and if bishop takes d5, then the queen becomes active. Black could consider a rook d4, though. Yeah. Knight d5.
Try and take on e4. Yeah.
No, knight d5, bishop takes d5, e takes d5, rook d4, just attacking the queen, and where's the queen go?
Ooh.
Isn't that just game over?
That's game over, right? So you can't do that. So knight d5, you can't play bishop d5. So what about rook d4 straight away?
No, bishop d5 is winning for. That's the one that's winning for black, not
for black. So you can't play knight d5. Sorry,
can't play knight d5. Yeah. So knight. What am I missing? So maybe can he move his king? Oh, moving his king looks obviously very bad, but
if you move the king, you can still take on c3, right?
Takes on c3 with the queen. Yeah, sorry, he can't do this. Going to move his knight then. Yeah.
Yeah.
F4 loses to queen c3. He's got to move his knight. So knight e2 is the other option. Yeah.
Knight e2 then.
Yeah, because at least then if we knight e2, because at least then if we take with the knight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Keeps things going.
So, all right, just bishop e4.
Yeah, bishop e4. Can white then play f4? Probably has to anyway, but it doesn't look that great. Yeah, because the rook's protected now anyway. So just bishop takes. Yeah.
F4.
And then just some sort of queen move. Queen f5. Or maybe no, maybe not. Maybe d5. Sorry, queen d5, so that knight g3 doesn't come with tempo. Queen f6.
Okay. And so that's
Queen f6 loses to rook takes g3.
Yeah.
And if white just exchanges on d3, doesn't have anything better anyway, then surely those queens are pawns are. Oh, sorry, we've got knight c3 here. Missed that.
Knight c3.
Yeah, so knight c3 is a very annoying move. It's not what black wants at all.
No.
We need to avoid that. So we just need to find a better square for our queen.
It's all right. Queen d6.
Queen d6 leaves h5 hanging. We kind of want to avoid that kind of play. So maybe queen f5. Yeah, okay. White's getting a little bit of play here. Yeah. To be honest with you, maybe the very calm queen e8.
Oh, white has played knight d5.
Oh, really? So what have we overlooked? Have we overlooked something here? Let's have a look at that.
I don't think so. I think. Oh, white's James Jackson. So we were thinking black can just take that knight off, and that's it. Take it off, and then rook d4, and that's game over.
Yeah, white has got the f4, bishop d5, f4, but then queen takes e4 is just winning for black again. So takes rook d4, we're missing. f4, rook f4. It says it's black's move. It says it's white's move. White's clock's running. Oh, what happened there? He didn't. He swapped everything off. What happened there? He actually just took on. He swapped everything off, didn't he?
No, what has happened?
He didn't. Yeah, he didn't. He didn't play rook d4. He just took on g3.
Oh no.
So rook d4 definitely. Are we missing something?
Rook is it knight d5? This is what happened. Knight d5.
Yeah. Bishop takes d5.
Bishop takes d5. E takes d5.
And instead of taking
we think rook d4 wins the queen. But
yeah, that's what we think.
That's what we think.
It looks pretty good to me, doesn't it? I mean, white's rook is pinned. Can't move his rook. If he goes f4, then surely just rook takes f4 anyway.
Yeah. I think it's a missed opportunity.
It looks like a missed opportunity. Now, of course, black is clearly better, but it's going to be very difficult to win.
It's going to be a long.
Because also, if you look at that final position we've got now, the white king is really safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So so it's going to be very difficult for black to make
triangle of pawns. I think you've had triangle of pawns.
I have.
Like that before,
I had it with the H pawn as well, which is even better. As in, sort of, I had pawns on f2, f3, g3, and
right. Yes.
But this is pretty safe. That king on h2, isn't it? Which means that black can't use checks as tactics.
So that's a bit of an escape for James.
Well, we'll see. Obviously, black has still got chance. Black has definitely still got chances, but it's going to be difficult to win now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right, Keith against Jude.
That's not that. Rook d4 is never those sort of backwards moves.
It's not easy to see.
No. Okay.
So now this one.
So Keith.
So I think Keith's
pawn up.
He's winning this endgame. I think.
It does look very good for white, doesn't it? Black has got. Can black get any? So surely, actually, yeah. Rook b8. Keith will just play rook e3.
Actually, Jude's gone rook a8, but that's basically the same.
Yeah. Rook e3, you'd have thought now. By Keith.
Rook e3.
Black can't actually play rook a3 here either. Now he's chosen a8.
He could go rook a2 maybe.
Then rook c3.
And then
f5, I guess,
F5,
to release the bishop, and then white will move the king to h3, so the knight's no longer pinned, and black can't take the pawn on d4.
Yeah.
If he'd chosen rook b8, he could have played rook b3, I guess.
3.
Not that obviously it keeps the pawn for a while. It still feels very good for white. There's also possibly white could play. I mean, white's very close to playing f5, which in this position, which would completely kill the bishop, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, this is looking good. Rook a2, rook c3, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Looking good for Keith. Oh, what's that? What's going on there? Is that a checkmate?
This one here. That's it. Yeah. This is finished. And that is a checkmate, king in the center of the board.
Don't move your king up too close, too far in a queen ending.
Yeah.
What was the last few moves?
Yeah. Okay. So we had something like this.
Okay. Oh, so okay, so white should be able to. It should be a draw. With, okay, obviously maybe white was going for the win, yeah, by moving his king up. But white shouldn't be. White shouldn't be losing this, yeah. Should just be a draw with best play. Yeah, that was just a bit too risky, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, what that all finished very quickly.
Yes.
Well, it's a draw probably, isn't it? If white just keeps the queen defending the c pawn, and even if black just keeps his king on g2, even if black takes the a pawn, then white's going to push the c pawn up, and black's going to have to give perpetual check. Yeah.
So like queen g2 here?
No. Even earlier than this, white shouldn't allow queen e1. I mean, just a couple of moves. No, earlier, not later. So yeah, instead of going to g3, why not just move the king? King g1, yeah.
King g1 and repeat, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, black can't even take on a2 actually, yeah. So I think that's probably what's going to happen. Needs to happen.
Yep. Okay. What else is still going?
What's that?
Sure. I think we're pretty much. Let's start from the top. So that one was a draw. This one's still going. Marcus Harvey.
Oh, he's made a lot of progress now, hasn't he? He's won another pawn.
Yeah, and
yeah, that's looking winning for black now, isn't it?
Oh, in fact,
that's actually finished.
Guy's resigned. Yeah, Ian's resigned.
That's a good game from Marcus Harvey to sort of win from a position which,
yeah,
his position sort of gradually improved, didn't it?
It's pretty much going with seedings, isn't it? So Richard Pert won, Matthew Wadsworth won, Peter Robertson, Jonah Willow. This one's still going. Is it?
Oh, there's been some action in this one, hasn't there?
Let's see this one.
There's been a few more exchanges.
Yes. Okay.
So again, unless there's an immediate, if black can somehow exchange queens or something, then he's. I think that it's very difficult again to do anything now for black because his king is too open for checks.
Yeah. So it's probably just going to be a draw, right?
I think so. Yeah. Oh, queen takes. You can try queen takes. Queen takes a3. Queen takes g5 check. That's likely to be a draw, isn't it? Yeah. But what else does black do? Yeah, that looks likely to be a draw.
Likely to be a draw. Borna won. Keith's still going, but we think we'll win.
He's 2 pawns up now. Yeah.
Adam won. Oscar Hackner won. Draw for Peter and Max. Shreyas won.
Oh yeah, we didn't see how that game at all, actually, did we?
No, we didn't see too much.
We saw it basically around about move 16. After a5, knight c8, and we were kind of looking at the plans for both sides. And okay. So black's knight can get into d4, but obviously white's getting something into d5 as well, yeah?
Yeah, knight in on d4, okay.
Oh, wow.
Now what's happening here? So there is
actually, that was forced, wasn't it? Because knight d5 is forking the queen can't actually defend the bishop.
Yes.
Aha. So this is looking good
So
for
this
white.
might, yes, this might be it actually. And then
Because then
queen
queen comes to
c3.
c3, and now black's dark squares are really weak. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and just bring the knight back, and then
And then
f4, right?
f4. Yeah, that's just easy win, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's
Okay.
pretty straightforward, isn't it? Actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And for Shreyas. Okay, this one we were wondering what was going to happen, and actually turned
okay.
out to be a draw.
Where did we sort of finish it? I can't remember. Oh, it was this Caracon exchange, yeah?
Yeah.
Where white went king h1 and was lining up an attack. Should we see what
That's
happened?
right. Yes. Did this attack ever happen? So he gets,
Okay.
it's an extra pawn actually. Oh no, sorry.
No, this has worked out okay for black, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, they just took a draw this position actually.
Yeah, I mean, I think black played that well with this. He didn't never got his minority attack going, but there was enough distraction on the queen side, wasn't there?
Mm.
So in this final position, queen d6 perhaps, and then rook c4, queen a3, and oh, actually though, wait a minute, queen d6, rook takes a5 perhaps.
Oh yeah. So white
move.
might still have an advantage.
Queen. Yeah, so why was it a draw for? Why did white, who's a much higher rated player, for a draw here?
He wanted a chance to play Hebs next round.
That must be it. There's probably something we're just missing here. Queen. Nothing immediate comes to mind. The white queen's well centralised. It's not on e4. Queen d6, rook takes a5. White's a pawn up.
Yeah, now you say it looks good for white, doesn't it?
And if queen d8 to defend the a pawn, then rook takes c4. It's not like we can. If black could sort of chase away that queen from e4 and get a counterplay, but it's not clear how.
No.
Queen b7, maybe? Oh, queen b7. No, black, we just swap queens and go rook takes c4. For example, queen b8, rook takes c4, rook b1's not possible with the queen on e4. This queen is just so dominant on e4, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I've no idea. It's just, I'm sure there's something. I just can't see it at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Fine.
And what's that game just below that? That looked like a nice checkmate at the end there.
Let's see. Oh yeah. Kind of lawnmower one. I think we only saw a little bit of this one.
We did yeah. Oh, this was the. I know what this was. This was the Italian game, which we thought was going to be good for white, didn't we?
Oh, is this the one?
Yeah, move. We stopped it about move 14.
Okay.
Where white's got the double.
Oh, and this queen c8. We like the queen c8.
We did like the queen c8, and after bishop a4, he did indeed play the move c5.
c5.
Yeah. And he managed, basically he managed not to fall into it. Basically, black's okay now, yeah?
Yeah.
So it looked for a while that white was going to get a very strong kingside attack. Still might be. Okay. Oh, did he lose it? What happened there? Is he getting checkmated with rook g1, so you had to give up a rook? That's what happened, isn't it? After rook g8, rook g1's a big threat.
Yeah. So
you could safely say that's a turning point of the game.
Yes. Okay, and let's just see. The women's, that one we saw.
Yeah.
Draw. They did draw in the end.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. This game here was all
Julie and so they're
Nina won, didn't she?
Nina won. Sorry, yeah. So this is the last one still going in the women's.
Still going on, yeah.
Black's piece up.
Yeah, should be a win for black.
Yeah. And let's see. And then
Final game. That one was a win
that
for
one
black.
was finished. That was
Yeah.
Aga.
Yeah.
Okay, so Marcus has one, which it was looking like it. I think they're all finished.
Yeah. Oh, there's that Queen End game we thought was going to be a draw, didn't we? Still going on, or we thought it was going on when last time we saw it. The Queen and 3 pawns against Queen and 2, the James Jackson game.
James Jackson. Here we go.
Yeah. Oh, they agreed to draw. They agreed to draw. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So everything's done except for
the game where Black's a piece up, Julie O.
That one, but that's basically done. We assume that Black will win because it's a piece up. All right, good. Let's see the camera. Oh, it's going to be empty now. Everybody's gone. All right then. So great. That's basically the end of round one. Quite a lot with seedings, but a few Grandmasters drop draws here and there. Some very good games by the juniors. Lots of fun to see the junior players being able to take on the Grandmasters in this English Championship. And
that particular highlight was that Max Pert's game against Peter Wells. That was
fascinating game there where Peter was trying. Max had a good position. Peter was trying to generate counterplay and managed. And then we think maybe he was better at the end there, but it was very tricky to do, and Peter had no time. Surprised there's no Zoe or Audrey there. Yes, I don't know exactly what they're doing, but could be studying or whatever. So I'm not exactly sure.
I guess there's the issue of having the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday during term time. Might exclude a few players.
Yeah. Okay, good. So I think commentary will be back tomorrow morning, and I'm on with Tom Rendell from 11 a.m. So hopefully we will see you there. And thanks everyone very much for watching.